Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. Hope you guys can hear, hope you guys can see. I've tried to make a few changes in the chat box. By the way, my name is Liaquat. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaban. So I've tried to make a few changes. Let me know if these changes, you think these changes are okay. Right, if you guys think these changes are good, we should keep them. Or just trying to think how we could yeah, I think this should be good. But you guys let me know, what do you guys think of this So how is everyone good? Is the sound working? Yeah, sound is working. I hope it's working. I hope you guys can. And is the color okay on the in the image? Now you might have noticed that the quality of the color is actually starting to go a bit down, and that's because I'm using this website. It's called Restream, and this allows me to be able to do the streaming on YouTube and on Facebook as well. Yeah, so I don't know if that makes much of a difference, but yeah. Yeah, sound is good, video is good. Is it like good, or is it not as good as previously? Or I need someone who's very sort of like particular in their feedback. I need some good feedbackers. Yeah. Right. Let's see if I can just sort this out. Okay, so let's start then, guys. Let's check out what you guys are saying. Right, I'm ready, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so Hussein, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good to see you. How are you and how was your day and week? My day, mashallah, was very good. I had a very wonderful time, enjoyed myself. Mashallah. Today was a bit cold, chilly. That's why I've got this cardigan on. Yeah, feeling a bit cold today. So, you know, I gotta keep warm. Plus, you know, when I get cold, my arthritis kicks in, and then I'll start to have a terrible night. So yeah, alhamdulillah. Nice day today. Today I was actually at an event with where Brother Hamza Zotis was there. So he gave a very good talk on atheism. Part 2 is tomorrow. So inshallah I'm going to be there as well tomorrow, hopefully. And very nice how I like it how he talks about you know, how we respond to people who have doubts about Islam, or you know, atheists and all that kind of stuff. So he's got a very good way of explaining, and especially when he brings the ayats in, yeah, he brings a lot of it to life. So got to give to the guy, mashallah. The guy's got very good talent. Ibrar, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan. Alhamdulillah, Ibrar, how are you? How are you, man? Adam Ali, how's your arm? Was that from badminton? Badminton arms is getting better, alhamdulillah. My injuries are over here. Yeah, just below my rib. It's over here between like the sides there. It's like an inside, and when I laugh, or when I kind of, now the pain, I don't really get the pain when I move too much now. Now I get the pain like a bit when I laugh. I think it's getting better. So I don't know if anyone's an expert here on sports injuries. Qasim Ustad, there's nothing wrong with stocks and shares. Why do people think there is a problem with them? I think it's depending on like what kind of shares it is. Yeah, what kind of shares? Because there's different types of shares you can get. There's some types of shares which are basically like gambling. So you don't really buy a physical share. You actually buy you actually bid. You bid on shares. That's a problematic thing. So maybe they're getting that confused with normal buying shares. Muhammad wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaban. Ayami Aswaib. I'm probably messed up your name there. Jazakallah khair for doing this. You're welcome. You're welcome. Amina Ijaz. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. I Hussein. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have been on here. I changed my name. I'm from America. Oh, Google user. Acha. MashaAllah. Google user. Good. I like to see people with their real names on the live streams. I know a lot of people like use kind of like nicknames and pseudonyms and all that. But I don't know. I just prefer people using their real names. I don't know. What do you guys like speaking to people with their real names or with I was saying a bit chilly today. Mr. Cardigan, yes, that's it, bro. That's it, man. Boxing MMA fan. Assalamu alaikum. I'm going through a course called Iman Academy. Have you heard of it? I haven't heard of it. What is it about? Tell us what it's about. Yeah, weather has changed all of a sudden. Yeah, it's been quite raining here past few days, and I haven't been able to go on my bike as well. So that's a downside of it. Sound and video is good. Excellent. Jazakallah khair. Ahmad, mashallah. Ahmad, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm so sorry, Sheikh, for not coming and streamed lately. I was busy with my studies. Yeah, I was gonna ask where have you been? How's things? May Allah put barakah in your time and efforts. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Color looks a bit anemic. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It looks a bit anemic. Yeah, that's the kind of feedback I like. Yeah, that's the kind of feedback I like. So you think it should be a bit darker, yeah? Okay, let me just try to fiddle about with this. Okay, so let's see if that makes any difference. Yeah, any difference? No difference? The same? See, before I had it on this setting. Now this setting, the color is quite strong here. Yeah, so this is quite good. Only thing is that this has that zoom in, zoom out problem. Yeah, so the zoom in, zoom out. So if you see the automatic focus, it just sometimes randomly just. So I don't know. Yeah, so see, this is much better. Much better, isn't it? Yeah, so basically, this is wa alaikum assalam, Muhammad Ayub, ahlan wa sahlan. So this is basically because I live stream it to Facebook. This is the kind of issue I get. This kind of software I'm using, website, it only allows to stream 720. Yeah, so you guys think I should stop live streaming it to Facebook? I Hussein, wa alaikum assalam, mashallah, jazakallah khair for your donation. I Hussein, may Allah bless you, put barak in your time, effort, and efforts. What is meant by the hadith? Da'ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuka. So this hadith basically translates as leave that which you're doubtful about and do the thing that you're not doubtful about. Right? So basically it's like a guidelines the Prophet ﷺ was laying down, which was don't busy yourself with something which you're unsure about. Yeah, something that you're unsure about. You're not sure whether this is something which is, and this could be general. It could be general in life, or it could be related to religion as well. Something you're in doubt about, whether it's halal or haram, leave it. And do the thing or eat the thing which you're 100% confident that it's halal. So it could mean both. Da' ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuk. And this is like a general sort of like inner mufti you've got inside of you that gives you fatwa. And the fatwa is that if you're unsure about this thing, whether it's halal or haram, don't do it. And if you're sure about it, then do it. It's like that. But jazakallah khair for your donation, bro. MashaAllah, may Allah bless you. Okay, next. Voice is amazing. Is it my voice is amazing, or is it the quality is good? I hope it's both. Yes, mashallah. Sound quality, color looks nice to me. Honest feedback, yes please. Sound is good. Mic is a little wobbly and close to the screen. Yeah. So you see, the reason I put it close to the screen is so that you guys get, like, you guys get a good sort of sound. That's the only reason I put it near the screen, so you guys get good sound. But otherwise, I can move it around. That's not really an issue. But you're not gonna get that kind of nice crisp, where you sit down and it feels good, that kind of sound. So the reason it's wobbly is because I've got it on a stand, like this stand that it's an arm, you can move it out. Okay, what else? Assalamu alaikum, ahla wa sahlan, Cyrus. How have you been? How's things? Sanga chalde khair. Alhamd, bismillah. Yasin, assalamu alaikum, ahla wa sahlan, Yasin. MashaAllah, good to see you again. I was saying, may Allah grant you afiyah, relief from all ailments. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. It's funny you mentioned Hamza Zotis. He's Allah amazing, and his debate with Lawrence Krauss was so amazing, but humiliating the eyes of the atheist scientists. Yes, definitely. I mean, he's a very good orator and a very humble guy. I've seen him up very close, and alhamdulillah, I mean, personally, I think he's probably one of the wali of Allah in our time today. One of the walis of Allah of today's time, I think. The effort, the work he's doing, the doubts that he's helping Muslims themselves to save themselves from. All right. Okay, so let's start with the questions then, I think we've got the camera right now. So let's start with the questions. Allahu Akbar. Okay, so let's see what kind of questions we got today. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so this is a question someone's asked. Let's have a look at this question then. Right, so he says, many ulama prohibit photography digital too. Why are many alims still not staying away from it? Good question this is. This is about, a lot of people ask this question about images and imagery. And I've answered this before, but I think I'll have a go at answering again, inshallah. So basically, there is nothing which is categorically mentioned in the Quran about the ruling of photographs or drawing images. Nothing in the Quran at all. But in narrations, there are narrations where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that anyone who makes images of living things on the Day of Judgment, he'll have to like blow a soul into them, which he won't be able to do, which is a kind of like a form of humiliation and torture. So the scholars here, they differ as to what did the Prophet ﷺ mean by making image. Like, did he mean a 3D image? Yeah, something which is 3D. Did he mean something which is a 2D image? What did he exactly mean by that? That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that what's the reason behind it? Why? What's wrong with images? Why is making an image wrong? Like looking in the mirror is okay, right? Or looking into a water and seeing your reflection is okay. Why is making an image wrongful? And so this is where the scholars differ about this issue. So some of the scholars say 2D images are prohibited, and some say no, 2D is okay, 3D is prohibited, right? So like for example, Imam Malik and others say it's a 3D image. And then you have amongst the Hanafis, there's a difference of opinion of what about small images that are very small, or what about images that are, the facial features are not visible, or what about images where it's of something which is non-existent, like a mythical creature, right? It doesn't exist. So all these, there's ikhtilaf in all of this shows that there's nothing categorical about this. Now, if you add to that, this was in a time where people's imagery in the past was considered to be, mashallah, jazakallah khair, Adam Ali, may Allah bless you, jazakallah khair, long live Mufti Liaquat, Zabanaso. Oh. You made my ribs hurt, bro. To Adam Ali, jazakallah khair. Zabanso, I think that was probably a typo, but Zabanso, I think Zabanso is much cooler than Zaman. We can benefit from knowledge. I mean, jazakallah khair. Really appreciate the support, guys. Yeah, and really appreciate the donations and helping this channel. Actually today, interesting thing. Today, a guy met me today, and he was telling me he wanted advice from me about doing like live streams and recording. So the thing is that it's just how much effort you put into it. Anything you put effort into, a time will come when people will come to you for support. I remember my teacher saying this once. He said, if you do something good in life, if you become like proficient in something, or you put a lot of effort into something, Allah will bring people to you, whether it's in this Islamic sciences or whether it's in other things as well. We see this is like, alhamdulillah. Okay. So going back to, again, Adam Ali, jazakallah khair, and I Hussein, you guys are wonderful people. May Allah bless you guys. So going back to the issue of the images. So the images issue, basically, like I said, there's nothing categorical about the exact detail. So we know there's a prohibition about this. Then the question comes is that this was a time where drawing images and making images was not as common it is today. So in today's times, it is like big sort of, topic. Everyone is taking pictures. Everyone has some sort of images in their house. So when you go to the shops, you buy items that have images on there, newspapers, images on there, even coins have images on there. Images are nearly everywhere now. So the society today, the concept of images in today's society has changed from the past. The past, it was more about honoring those images. And this is where the reason behind it seems to be that the element was that will this lead to people worshipping that image? So this is the thing that we have to remember, is that whenever in fiqh we want to analyze anything at all, we always have to try and figure out in our minds, with looking at the Quran, looking at the Hadith, trying to figure out what the lawgiver, the Sharia, wants behind this. Like, what is it aiming at? So this is why the images of today is more to do, like when people have images of today, it's more to do with educational purposes, it's more to do with marketing, it's more to do with entertainment. Rather, in the past, it wasn't like that. In the past, it was more to do with like shirk, idol worship. That's why there is ikhtilaf in this whole issue of imagery now. And slowly you're going to see a lot of scholars who actually were against images. You're going to see a lot of them slowly starting to incline towards image. And I've seen it myself, where the scholars who are very strict on imagery, and slowly now they're coming on TV, or slowly they're starting to, show their images on newspaper or whatever. So this is why there is this ikhtilaf among scholars regarding this issue. And it's good to ask these kind of questions, because clearly a lot of people would have questions if they've heard in talks and people saying that the Prophet ﷺ has is sparring allowed in boxing, for example, as long as the person wears helmet. So the thing about boxing and these kind of sports is, boxing is a very dangerous sport, right? I mean, the doctors will tell you that. you don't have to ask a scholar about this. Doctors will tell you that. So the idea is that any sport in which a person is putting their life at risk, the higher the risk, the more prohibited it's going to be. So if there's a sport that the chances of you dying is extremely high, that would clearly be impermissible. Like there's a sport like jumping off the cliff sport. Jumping off the cliff sport. You just jump off the cliff. You clearly are going to die if you hit the floor. That would be haram, right? So this is how the scholars, they understand the rulings regarding these sports. Now, in boxing, obviously, if you're just sparring with someone, you're not going to be hitting them really hard. It's not going to be like a professional tournament where you're putting all your energy and all your force and you're refining all your punches just to knock the other person out. It's more about practice. So I would say, I've done boxing. I would say, sparring is okay. General sparring is okay. Nothing's wrong with it. If a person wears a helmet, even with the helmet on, it reduces obviously the brunt of the punch, but it still can have damaging effects. It's brain damage and all that. So, I mean, I'm not too sure about all the studies that have been done on the effect of punching to the head, but this is something that you can look into yourself. But general sparring, I don't see an issue with that. It means I am me. Okay, I am me. I am me. As we be. Oh, I am me as we be. Allah. I thought it was something like some kind of Swahili kind of like statement there. Okay. Anaya, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Excellent. Jan man, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Looking forward to the stream. Ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban, welcome. You are more than welcome. MashaAllah, Samad, coolest ustad. Allahu Akbar. Jazakallah khair. And Farhan Haq, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan, guys. Ahlan wa sahlan. I think I need to get 2 screens, I think that's my next. I'm going to do that 2-screen one. No, you get like 2 screens. Okay, let's just. Okay, so. All right, let's look at the next question then. All right, is it shirk? Okay, is it shirk to say Ya Ali Madad? I read people say it's allowed as it's tawassul. So yeah, so it goes back down to what do you mean by it? So if a person is clearly saying Ya Ali Madad means oh Ali help me, oh Ali help me. Ali is a human being. So if a person is asking Ali for like human help, that's fine. If they are asking Ali for help that only Allah can give, then that is shirk. So shirk is where you believe someone else has the power to do something which Allah can do. Now, Ali radiallahu anhu is passed away now, right? He's in his grave. He's passed away. He's probably in the Alam Barzakh. So can we call out to Ali in this? And this is something I've always told you about the tawassul issue. I personally believe tawassul is something that people should stay away from. And I know there are some people who say that it's allowed with strict conditions. That person does not associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're simply just calling out to someone in the barzakh to ask them to make dua for you to Allah. If that's the case, then there is scope. I personally wouldn't do that. Yeah, and I wouldn't encourage people to do that. Ahlan wa sahlan Abu Zaid. Ahlan wa sahlan. Bonjour. Ça va? Très bien. Okay. All right. So next. 1 second. Très bien. Check that, guys. My French. I remember in school I used to hate French. It was like, one of those lessons where you're thinking, what's the point of studying this? I'm not going to go work in France. All right, so okay, next. Let's check out the next one. Cyrus, I changed my name to Cyrus. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan, Cyrus. Cyrus, what does that mean? I mean, is that Cyrus as in some people claim that Zulqarnain's name was Cyrus. Well, I don't know. Alhamdulillah. Allahumma yashfik wa aqribak. Ameen, 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 ya Rabbal Alameen. Looking forward to get your 17 course, inshallah. Inshallah, definitely. Boxing, MMA. Are we allowed to have boxing spars with head guards on? Includes, yeah. So I answered that one. Black Leopard. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Min al Bosnia wal Harask. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ya ikhwanana min Bosnia. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaban. Welcome, welcome, our brothers and sisters from Bosnia. We welcome you. And one day, inshallah, I will be going to Bosnia, inshallah. I'm making a vlog over there. Because I heard Bosnia has some beautiful places. People are very nice people. And it has some beautiful, amazing places. So inshallah, we're going to check out Bosnia. See what Bosnia is saying. You didn't tell me that your French was good as your Arabic. I can't tell you everything, bhai. I told you I'm Pathan. I told you I speak Arabic. So I can't tell you everything, bro. And you were only with us for a little while anyway. And then you went back to France. Okay. Still looking, paying 50, don't worry. Jazakallah khair. Black and white color content would still be good. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. S. Hussein, Ahla wa sahlan. MashaAllah. Welcome, welcome. How are you, S. Hussein? How's the weather down your ends? I suppose it's probably the same as ours. Boxing MMA Iman Academy is a course from Iman channel. It's Mufti Meng's course. Includes fiqh, tafsir, hadith, £6 a month. Okay, interesting, interesting. How's it going so far? Are you enjoying it? Is it beneficial for you? That's the main thing. Look fine to me. Jazakallah khair. Okay, so this was previously someone asked this question about. They said, I want to study under yourself in person. How can I do that? And then I asked the question, that what have you studied? And they said, I've studied the first year Alimiya. The thing is, I would love to teach the whole world, yeah, one-to-one. That's what I would love to do. Unfortunately, physics doesn't allow that. Yeah, so physics won't allow that. The laws of physics. And I haven't reached the level of, being a wali to such a degree that I can, break some laws of physics. So I unfortunately wouldn't be able to teach people. What I do have actually is on my Patreon system, there's certain tiers that if you become one of those patrons, then you get like, I think it's one lesson a month or 2 lessons depending on which one you get. And that I'm thinking soon of actually stopping that for new people. So the old people that are still doing that, they'll get it. But then the new ones, I'll stop that because it's going to become too much for me. So if I get a lot of people who are at that level of patrons, then it's just going to become too much. I'm going to have to take up too much time for like one-to-one lessons. So at the moment, I do have a few students that I do teach based on that. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. What is your opinion regarding HFA certified meat and chicken? I haven't really studied the whole issue and investigated it, but from my understanding is that the HFA, their stunning is not lethal stunning. So based on that, it would be fine. I wouldn't have an issue with eating from there. Assalamu alaikum Sheikh. I received a text that Asufa are starting a BA degree in Islamic Studies. Is this true? Yes. So Asufa is not starting it. It's actually Markfield, and they're going to be hosting it at Asufa. And Asufa students will be able to join that course. So it's going to be basically Markfield doing it. Right? They are actually the ones who are going to be delivering the course, not Asufa's teachers. But if you do that course, they basically say that once you reach the 4th year in Asufa, you can do that course. It's 2 years. And once you've done those 2 years, you automatically get a BA. So you qualify from your Alimiya course, and you also get a BA at the end of it, which is excellent, I think. Perfect. If so, would one study along with full Alimiya? So it would actually not be in the Alimiya time, but it'd be in a different time in the day. So that's why I said to you, it's going to be separate hours from the Alimiya course. Okay, someone says 5 years of Alim course, but I started when I was young and my foundations are weak. I'm considering starting Alimi again. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I've seen quite a few people. I mean, I know someone who studied the whole Alimiya course and they've actually come back to a Sufa and started from scratch again. And now they've got they've done about 6 years now. Like I always say, this is that if you're going to study the Alimiya course or Dars Nizami or anything like that, you always have to remember is you need to be like of a mindset that you know what you're studying, you know what you're getting yourself into. So it's it's like one of those ones. Mufti Saab, in this video, David Wood eats a page of the Quran. I've seen that this week. Quite a few people have, unfortunately, tried to desecrate the Quran or eat pages of the Quran. I mean, you know what these kind of people, it's just sad, really. These people are just ignorant people, extremely ignorant people, arrogant, egotistic, and they just want to make a point. That's all they don't want to search for the truth. And this just shows us what Abu Jahl was like. Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, Fir'aun, these kind of guys. This was their mentality. Yeah, very egotistical, very arrogant. May Allah guide them. And if guidance is not in their decree, then may Allah, rid us of them and their kind. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. I was wondering, as Ashura is near, why do Sunnis not talk about the martyrdom of Hussein ibn Ali radiallahu anhu? The Shias over exaggerate it, but Sunnis don't talk about it much, and it's such a big thing that happened. I've watched Farid response explanation of the event from Sahih. Yeah, so see this kind of issue. I mean, if you ask me, it's not a big issue for a Muslim. Like from a Muslim point of view, it will not affect your iman if you did not know about the martyrdom of Hussein at all. And I know, for example, in Pakistan, it's such a big thing. Once Ashura comes, Muharram comes, it's like everyone is just doing talks on it, and everyone. And they actually, the funny thing is that when the Mawlid comes in Pakistan, you have this big issue regarding the Mawlid. Should you do it? Should you not do it? This and that. But then when Ashura comes, like everyone's in agreement. Whereas the Mawlid is to do with the Prophet ﷺ himself, and Ashura is to do with Hussein radiallahu anhu, right? So it's, to me, I mean, from a Islamic point of view, we do not need to know about the martyrdom of Hussein at all. Just like we don't need to know about the martyrdom of Hamza radiallahu anhu. It's like we don't need to know the martyrdom of any other of the famous companions. That will not affect our iman. But clearly, obviously, people will obviously go in extremes in this. So there's going to be people who are going to make it so important that if anyone does not celebrate Ashura or mourn Ashura, they're going to make a fuss about it. And then you have the other extreme who are going to totally go against them and start refuting them and call it bid'ah and all that. So this is why I don't think there's a need for it. Yeah, I don't see why there's a need for it. And the family of the Prophet ﷺ, alhamdulillah, we have full respect for them. But it's the mourning issue. Every year, this is not an Islamic concept, that every year we mourn over the death of someone. If there was someone to mourn over, it would be someone like, Hamza radiallahu anhu. It would be someone like Umar radiallahu anhu, who was actually buried in the month of Muharram. So this is why I don't see the need for us to, especially we're living in the West. It's not in our culture. It's in the culture, Pakistan culture. You get it a lot. And maybe, I don't know, Iran maybe, because there's a lot of Shia there. But generally, I don't see the issue why we have to remember. If you want to remember Hussein radiallahu anhu, you remember him throughout the year. But why do you have to keep on remembering him on a specific date? And Allah, I don't know. Wallah alam. Is medicine capsules that list gelatin as an inactive ingredient impermissible? So I don't know exactly what they mean when they say an inactive ingredient. If something is an ingredient, it's inside of it. Do they mean inactive as in it doesn't play a role in the medicine itself? It's just used as the casing, so that it melts in the stomach. It's still not permissible because you're still putting something which is possibly haram in your stomach. If the gelatin is from pork, then I would say no. If it's from another source, then possibly yes. There'd be scope for that, I would say. Okay, the background is going in and out of focus, yeah? Yeah, that's what I feared. That's what I feared, man. That's what I fear was. Let me just try to focus it. So you can see my beard here. Okay, should be fine then. Right, so are Ya'juj Ma'juj out? Allah knows best. How do scholars reconcile the hadith of the hole in the wall versus the wall being rebuilt until they say inshallah? That hadith of inshallah is not authentic hadith. Yeah, that's not authentic hadith. So the thing is, a lot of people, they kind of like quote a lot of hadith regarding Ya'juj. Most hadith regarding Ya'juj Ma'juj unfortunately are not authentic. But yeah, the one with the hole, right, that the Prophet ﷺ, this is in Sahih Bukhari, that the hole has opened up. Yeah, and when we say about a wall of Ya'juj Ma'juj, what we must not try and do is go into this mentality of there being like a specific type of wall and a specific type of creature. And most likely, to me, what it seems, Ya'juj Ma'juj are human beings. That's what it seems. They are human beings. They were a race at that time, not a race, a tribe, two tribes at that time. And these two tribes, managed to free themselves from a barrier that was built between them and between like other villages and cities. And then they just, scattered around the world, and they populated other parts of the world. That's what it seems. And quite a few scholars have said that they think that most likely it applies to the Caucasians and the Mongols and, Eastern Asians. That's what it applies to. A tribe of them. Yeah, so we don't know. Allah knows best. Whether it's another creature, to me it seems very unlikely that's another creature. Possible, but it seems very unlikely. He means the audio is amazing. Oh, Muhammad Saad, alaikum assalam. How's it going? Alhamdulillah, Muhammad Saad. How are you? How's everything with you? What is the hukum of sarawil for women in public, and where can I find this masla in books of fiqh? Sarawil? What's sarawil? You mean sirwal? Sarawil. Trousers. Wearing trousers, you mean? I don't understand that one. If you can clarify that. The atheist scientist said, and I quote, I personally don't think that incest is wrong. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? If a person is going to be an atheist, that means that they can't believe in objective morals. Because that's the nature of the philosophy of atheism. That you can't believe in objective morals. You have to make up your own morals. And then people are biased towards their own, inclinations. And they're going to make up. And now you've seen that new MAP movement. Yeah, MAP. Pedophilia. Yeah, what was it? MAP stands for something attracted to, I don't know. So this is what's happening now. People are coming out saying they're attracted to young kids. Yeah, and this is because if you're gonna say that you're atheist, then you have to be willing to accept that everything that comes with atheism, you're open to that. Mullah, assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Not being able to join your live streams in a while due to working full time now. Inna lillah. Well, actually, alhamdulillah and inna lillah, both. So, are you working 5 days weekdays, or is it just every day? How to respond to non-Muslim opposite gender who asks if I want to grab a coffee or go for a walk at the park across the street? Okay, so this is a good question. I mean, in this kind of situation, what I would say is that a person should, if a person is in that kind of situation where it's a work colleague or something like that, a person should try to express to them, like maybe beforehand or even in previous days or weeks, what their faith says, right? So that, we have this thing about, not being secluded in a room together with the opposite gender without there being a chaperone there, or for instance, like, how we kind of like communicate with one another. So that's the first thing I think that we need to make clear to other people. And sometimes when you tell them this, they respect you, right? They respect you. The other thing is that if it's in a public place where there is no sort of way of something wrong happening, right? So there's people watching, or there's a group, then I would say that would be okay. But otherwise, if a person is in doubt, then they should make it very clear to them, right? That look, this is my faith, and I hope you understand, like that. So it's very difficult. I would say a person should, make a decision for themselves, yeah, of how they deal with it, because it could be like, for example, you have to have a meeting with your boss. You're going to be alone with your boss, and usually in these kind of situations, people are quite professional. They're quite formal in the way that they hold themselves. That's quite important as well. I think that's also part of this idea of segregations, where you speak formally with someone. Right. Apostate prophet and Dawood ripped the Quran. Yeah, and that's the one there. So, Salaam alaikum. I am planning to start an online e-commerce business, but have no idea about the legal Sharia rulings that are involved. Can you please tell me what are some of the things I absolutely must know? And basically, you need to do a course. I would not advise going into e-commerce business unless you know the rules. Right? There are basic things that you need to understand. Like, for example, things like gambling is haram, interest is haram, having excessive ambiguity or gharar in trade is haram. Yeah, these are the kind of main sort of haram things. But you need to at least study like a basic course. And there's quite a few actually out there. Quite a few courses you can do, like Islamic finance courses. So if you kind of just Google in Islamic finance course, you probably find a lot of people that are doing them. A guy who's actually quite good at them, he's got some courses, is Sheikh Joe Bradford. So Sheikh Joe Bradford is a revert in America. He's actually a scholar as well. So check him out. He's actually got some courses that you can pay for, and he actually explains it quite well, I would say. So check that out, I would say. But money and these kind of things, a person should understand the Islamic rulings regarding it. Is it jazakallah or jazakillah? So technically, if you're speaking to a man, you say jazakallah, and if you're speaking to a woman, you say jazakillah. Yeah. Now this does not mean you want to kill her. Yeah, jazakillah. But it's just the way in Arabic pronouns are formed. And if you want to learn more about this, I actually explained this in my 17 lessons. In the 17 lessons, this is actually explained. So you can actually check that. You can check that one out. Yeah, MAP is minor attractive personality. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Is adding khair at the end mandatory? No, it's not necessary, because you kind of already, in your mind, you know what you intend. But it's good to do so. Adding jazakallah khair. I used to have a friend in madrasa, and he was a Tunisian, and he would always emphasize to me, say khair at the end. Jazakallah khair. He said, don't just say jazakallah, because jazak can be evil as well. He was just like nitpicking, so I've kind of got the habit of that now. Okay, so next question. بدأت الحكاية بهذه الجملة يحكى أنه عاشت في قديم الزمان بنت. السؤال لو تكرمت بالجواب إلى ماذا يعود الضمير المذكر للغائب. So إنه يحكى أنه who. So this who actually goes back to ضمير الشأن. يعني الشأن عاشت في قديم الزمان. So this is what we call ضمير الشأن. This is, yeah. So it's like in Arabic, it's a bit difficult to translate into English, but in Arabic you have this. Yeah. So إنه جاء رجل إلى البيت, something like that. So this is like إن الشأن جاء خالد إلى البيت. وما موقعه في الإعراب. So in إعراب, it would actually be considered to be like a ism of, it would be treated as an ism of anna in that case, ism of anna, or it can actually be treated as, yeah, mubtada ism of anna. Yeah, that would be fine, ism of anna. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have a few questions. Okay, so all right. First question. With regards to the rules of backbiting, what is the ruling with regards to reading history or people's biographies? They almost always contain information which is negative about them. Wouldn't this be backbiting? So, If you're reading history about someone where it's to do with trying to understand what happened in the past, then that wouldn't be considered to be backbiting. Like if there is like a positive reason for you doing it. Yeah, and this is why when it comes to narrators of hadith, this question is raised over there. So narrators of hadith, they'll say this guy was a liar, or this guy was like this, or this guy never used to pray salat, or this guy drank alcohol. So this doesn't fall into backbiting, because the rule for backbiting is if it's done without a valid reason. So if there's a valid reason for it, so you're studying history about some some kings in the medieval days, or some I don't know some individuals in one part of the world, then that would not fall under backbiting if there is a reason to study it. So you understand about why something happened. Like maybe there was a war broke out because of something someone done. Number 2, I've read online that vast majority of fuqaha of our times have declared copyright laws as absolutely binding. I haven't heard that. The issue I run into is that there are fair use laws permitting private study of copyrighted materials where you can copy limited amounts of text. This presents an obstacle when studying, as I cannot, for example, copy articles to make into flashcards in fear of what is permitted by the fair use laws. Even though I am not selling or sharing the content with others, also when it comes to storing content on my laptop, which is backed up to the cloud, there's another worrying about contravening copyright laws, as well as watching, for example, Arabic cartoons on YouTube where I don't know whether the copyright is being respected. To what extent is it religious binding? So these kind of things, you wouldn't be sinful for that, right? And the reason is because Islamically, when we have like a law, the law, or not a law, a ruling, when we have a ruling, the ruling has to be based upon something that is tangible. Yeah, something that's tangible. And something being tangible, like for example, like someone's property, it has to be something that can be quantified. That's why copyright is extremely problematic. How do you quantify, copyright? Because let's say, for example, someone just quotes someone's book from their head in a talk. Does that mean you can't quote them? So where do you draw the line? So this is why I would say that the easiest way to follow is this, is that copyright, you should follow copyright laws if it comes to you profiting from it. So you profiting from it would mean that if you took a book, you photocopied it, and you sold it to people to make money. But if you used it for personal reasons or non-profit reasons, then I wouldn't see a problem in that. Yeah, it wouldn't seem to fall under the idea of copyright. So you wouldn't be sinful in what you've described. Okay, next. Mullah Amin Muhammad, is joke lying haram? So joke lying, I mean, it would be wrong, but I don't think it would fall under haram. I wouldn't see it as falling under haram, because lying would be where you're telling someone you want them to believe something, as in you're trying to deceive them. Whereas a joke is more like a kind of trickery. You're just trying to do a bit of trickery with them. Just like, for example, you do like, some cards and you do some trick with them. So it wouldn't necessarily, but it depends on the person as well. So if you are harming the person, playing a prank on them, something like that, making a fool of them, that wouldn't be allowed. How about sarcastic comments like, I've seen a stick with more skill, no, that's fine. That's just what we call mubalagha. So in Arabic language, we have something which is known as haqiqa majaz, mubalagha, which is used quite frequently, hyperbole. So, people say, you're driving me up the wall, right? So it's not a lie. It's just like exaggerated sort of like way of trying to express something. Surah, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh, ahla wa sahlan, Surah. I, Hussein, if one genuinely does not know when they reached puberty, how does one reconcile past shortcomings in one's ibadah? I would say just take a guess roughly. Take a guess, just say, okay, if you don't know, you can actually use the age of 15. Use the age of 15 and start from 15. Because scholars say from 15 you are definitely legally considered to be an adult, according to majority. Yasin J. About 5 years back, a university in Birmingham found a very old Quran manuscript in their library. I don't think they found a manuscript. I think they found parchments, like pieces of it. Did you get to see it? No, I didn't get to see it. Do you know what happened with its verification? I'm not too sure, unfortunately. Are body piercings allowed for women? So when it comes to cutting the body in any way, like cutting your body, it's totally haram. Unless it's for medical purposes, or if it's for like beautification that is well established in the community, like something which is quite widespread in the community and seen as a mark of beauty for women. like earrings, nose piercings. Other piercings, the scholars differ in this. So some other scholars say that no, you're not allowed to, because these kind of piercings are not considered to be beauty. Other scholars say, well, if nose piercings were allowed, as in earlier on in the Arabs, there wasn't, nose piercings were not common. This was more common when the Muslims went to India and they saw it over there. So therefore, a practice like this became permissible. So hence, some of them say that, look, if like, piercings of the eyebrows or piercings of, other parts of the body are considered to be something which the general people consider to be a mark of beautification, then it would be allowed. In this society, from my understanding, eyebrow piercings and tongue piercings and lip piercings, I don't think that's considered to be something of beauty. Like, people would not have that in a dignified gathering. They wouldn't consider that to be something which is something to be proud of. So this is what I would say. These kind of piercings would generally not be allowed. Right. Okay, let's check out next question then. Assalamu alaikum. Is it allowed to place money into savings accounts and receive the interest, but then give it away interest I receive? Yes. I can't cancel it with the bank, and I just have having money in there for convenience. It just makes me feel more organized. I saw somewhere about it not being allowed. Yes, there's ikhtilaf among scholars, but I would say it's allowed. I mean, I have a bank account. I get interest in my bank account. And all I do is work out how much interest there is, and then I give it to the poor. Okay, let's check out a question here. Adyan Khan. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Adyan, welcome to this channel. Wanted to know if I could have a procedure where it is an implantable contact lens. The lens is made of a material called polymer. The polymer is made of an acrylate and porcine collagen. Okay, so it's made from porcine collagen. I mean, why do you have this for? What's this for? MashaAllah, Sayyid Mia, Jazakumullah khair for your donation. Donated through PayPal. Jazakallah khair, may Allah bless you. Thank you very much for your kind donation. May Allah put barakah in your life, in your time, in your health, in your wealth. Really appreciate it, bro. Really appreciate it, man. So Adiyan, so I mean, what's the reason for it? I mean, is it something that you have to have? Is it like something which is for like a medical reason, or is it something to do with like more of an adornment kind of thing? To me, it seemed more of a medical reason. If there is nothing else that's possible for you to use, then yeah, I wouldn't see a problem in that. You can use it. But if there's nothing else that's more viable, then it's allowed. If there is something more viable, then you can't use it. Ahmed. Okay. Anisa, alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Anisa. Ahmed. Ali, I have a friend who's making a game based on popular anime called Dragon Ball. It has concepts like God Key training. And I found this guy is a Muslim. Would it be haram to work with him? No, it wouldn't be. Okay, next. Ali, if I advise him to change the name, but the concept is still the same, can I work with him? Yeah, like I said, it's fine. Because he doesn't mean God in the sense like God. He just means in the sense of like a game. Muhammaduddin, 2 screens are good. I use it for my work when looking at many things. Yeah, I think 2 screens. I've seen a lot of people, especially YouTubers, they've got like multiple screens, and it helps them a lot with like doing work as well. So sometimes when I do my editing, it's easy for me to be able to take things from one place to another and keep things open. Yeah, I think I might have to do that. Only thing is I've got an Apple, and Apple, I don't know if they do like if you can have 2 screens with an Apple. Muhammad, would you consider doing excerpts from Maqamat Imam Hariri? I heard its Arabic was quite... I actually do it for my patrons. So for my patrons on a weekly basis, I actually upload explanation of Maqamat al-Hariri. So we go through like about 2 or 3 lines of it every week. Yeah, so for patrons, there are some videos that they get access to that the general public don't get access to. Okay, next. Uh, Assalamu alaikum. What can you do with a degree in Islamic studies? What can you do with a degree in Islamic studies? I mean, I think you're talking about the university one, yeah? So, Islamic studies degrees are not really sort of like in depth studies of Islam. I wouldn't advise someone who has not studied Islam from like a traditional method. I wouldn't advise them to go directly into university and study an Islamic degree because it's more like kind of like tailored for university style of education, which is basically like you look into a lot of Oriental, what Orientalists say and stuff like that. I would advise people to study in a traditional method and then go into that. That way you'll benefit more. So what can you do with the Islamic degree? You can actually go into research. You can go into doing a master's degree, further education. A lot of universities will give you opportunities as well because they recognize a qualification. Also, is there leeway for eating lobster or crab in the Hanafi school? There would be leeway, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I personally, I always say to people that, look, if it's a food that's eaten in your community, then you can eat it. Yeah, that's what I would say. Salam, will you do an updated version of 17 lessons? Maybe in the future. Maybe. Do you think I should do an updated version? And if I do, what should I add to it? What would you think I should add to it? Okay, let's check this out. Okay, Cyrus. I saw a lecture by an Arab scholar. It said that the Iranian was following Shafi madhab before a king came and made them follow the Shia Imam to glorify the Imam and hate the Nabi companion. Okay, interesting. I don't know. I've never heard of that, but maybe. Cyrus was a name from an RPG game that I play when I was young. Okay, yeah. I've heard of that because I've heard that name Cyrus quite a lot. Boxing, MMA. I'm on a fiqh section. First topic is about purification. I know stuff about wudu that I didn't know before. The type of water to use, washing. Okay, mashallah, excellent. Sounds excellent course. Okay, S. Hussein, weather is perfect at the moment. Bit of wind, rain, and cloud. Perfect mix for me. I'm so relieved the heat waves are finally over. I like heat waves. I enjoy heat waves. The only time I don't like a heat wave is at night time when I'm trying to go to sleep. That's the only time. But throughout the day, I love heat waves. Yeah, and not in Ramadan. Yeah, okay. I don't like heat waves in Ramadan. Cyrus is a westernized version of a Persian king named Khorosh. Khorosh, okay. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not too well studied in history, but maybe it might be good to look into it. Okay, Muhammad Din Ashura is not to do with Martyr of Hussein radiallahu anhu. Okay, some golden hair came out from my golden. I don't want to ask how that happened, bro. I don't know if you're making like roti or something. Yeah, and like people in Pakistan when they make naan bread and they put in the oven and the fire like burns their hair and it becomes like golden. Okay. Salam. Is there a specific ayah in Surah Waqi'ah against protection from poverty? No, there isn't. There is a narration where Ibn Masud radiallahu anhu, he says that he teaches his daughters Surah Waqi'ah because he heard that it protects from poverty. Yeah, so the surah itself by reciting it every night. Okay, next. Okay, so Sharif, assalamu alaikum. Academic question: has this hadith had any bearing on usul of drawing? I don't know. I guess so. I guess scholars must have sort of like looked at this hadith when they were. Yeah, I guess so. But I'm not too sure. I haven't really kind of like looked into this whole topic itself. But I think someone should look into it, like a total historic understanding of of imagery in Islam and how the classical scholars saw it, and then how over the years was it seen as a Muslim cultural sort of art as well, drawing and these kind of things. I think this would be good to look into. Boss HD Gamers, what would you advise someone looking to get married? Just go for it. I would advise go for it. If you think you're ready for it and you think that, you know, it's my time, just go for it. Just try your luck, as they say. Can I make dua against enemies of Islam? Yes, you can. You can make dua against them. Can I make dua? Okay, Lanfour, Ilyas, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, Lanfour. Welcome. I Hussein, Sheikh, is it possible the bare light bulb hanging in front of the bookcase affecting the video quality? The image isn't as sharp as earlier. No, I don't think that would be the case. Isn't it as sharp as earlier? So you see, what I've done is I've taken off the autofocus. So the autofocus, basically, when the autofocus is on, what happens is the lens tries to, I'm going to put the autofocus on now. See what's going to happen. You're just going to see it focusing in and out. So I'll have it on for a while, you'll notice. That's the thing with this, because I've got it at the moment, the setting I've got it on is on automatic picture mode. Yeah, so photo shooting mode. That's the thing. Yes, very wide trousers that doesn't expose body parts. Yeah, you know, I actually forgot what your question was. Okay, Hanan's Corner, Flawless. As a woman, I'm asked all the time that why is polygamy allowed when they say we are named next to our soulmates in heaven by Allah, and I really need to know. I mean, I don't, this concept of we are named next to our soulmates, it's not Islamic. I haven't come across it in any of the like authentic Islamic sort of like references. So I don't know where. I think this is like more like a Christian thing. So like we believe in the concept of divine decree. Allah has decreed for us in the world, right, for us to be able to do what we do. But divine decree of soulmates does not mean, I mean, if for example, like we say, okay, leave the kind of like named to our soulmates. Okay, there's no authentic like narration or ayat to do this. But let's say, for example, take the idea of divine decree. Let's say a man gets married to a woman and they're living together for 20 years. Okay, then they divorce each other. And then someone says, well, wasn't it divinely decreed for them to live together? Well, yeah. And it was divinely decreed that they were going to divorce. And then it might be divinely decreed that each one might get back together. Or it might be decreed that they might get married to someone else. Yeah, and so forth like that. So this is why it's this concept. I mean, I haven't come across it anywhere in the authentic sources from my reading of Islam. But generally, the thing we have to remember is this: is let's say I live for 80 years on the earth here. In these 80 years, there are going to be things that are going to happen to me. I will get ill. I'll get cured. I'll get educated. I'll fall down. I'll hurt myself. I'll eat food. I'll have bad stomachs. I'll have to go to the toilet. I'll do all these kind of things. All of these things come under divine decree. Now, divine decree is not like a kind of like safety net for us, or it's not a kind of like sort of like a what do you call it, celestial guidance for us, that this is our guidance, this is what is in our interest, what is in our welfare. No, right? A person might die in childbirth, a person might die in their 40s, a person might die in their 80s, right? All these kind of things can happen. Divine decree simply just tells us that we are limited and restricted to how far we can do things in life. And things in life are not random. That's what divine decree teaches us. So if a person, for example, a lot of people come to me and say, look, Sheikh, I'm thinking about getting married to this girl. I don't know if it's going to be right for me or not. No, there's no such thing as is it going to be right for me or not. As long as you're happy and you believe that the person you're getting married to is going to be someone who's going to be a compatible spouse, then go for it. Yeah. And it might work out, might not work out. Might last for eternity. Well, not eternity, but for the rest of your life. It might last for 5 years. It might last for 1 year. It might last for a week. Who knows? But that doesn't mean you don't get married. So this is something that we always have to remember, that we have to correct our understanding, Islamic understanding of this idea. So this idea of soul mates, the Prophet ﷺ did say that souls, that people that are like kind of inclined to each other, generally are inclined because their souls met in the previous realm, right, the realm of the souls. But this idea of, people are gonna divinely be sort of like compatible with each other and they're gonna stay with each other forever, there's no such concept based upon that. I think it's a Christian, I'm not sure, maybe it's a Christian thing, maybe it's something else. Okay, Mullah, it's weekdays, Mondays to Friday, 9 to 5, need to have early nights. Oh yeah, early nights, and that's the other. My holidays are over now as well, so next week I'm going back to work. So if that makes you feel happy. Hanan's Corner, is marriage between two people of different religion forbidden, like Christian and a Muslim? Yeah, so when it comes to marriage, the Quran's rule is that a person should not marry someone who is a polytheist. It's totally prohibited. And the Quran mentions that a man is allowed to marry a Christian or Jewish woman, right? But for the woman, the Quran does not mention for the woman who she can marry, apart from obviously Muslim man. It doesn't mention about Christian man or Jewish man. But the ijma of the scholars, unanimous agreement of the scholars, is that it's not permissible for a woman to marry anyone besides a Muslim. And this is based upon how society is structured. Yeah, society is structured and how socially they kind of like work with each other. So usually the man is the one where his sort of like religious beliefs is dominant in the household. And then if you like kind of like make a simulation of this, imagine you made a simulation of this for 100 years, 500 years. So men got married to Muslim women, and some men got married to Christian women, some men got married to Jewish women. Over the years, you'll see there'll be a predominant sort of like generations will be inclined towards Islam, because it was like the father's way. But then if, for example, like you have a situation where a woman gets married to men, and you make a simulation of it, and some women get married to Muslim men, some get married to Christian men, some get married to Jewish men, and you see over the years, you'll see most likely that the child will be influenced by the father's faith overall. There will be cases where some children will be influenced by the mothers overall, and this is not something which is productive for the Muslim ummah. So this is generally what it's based on. Okay, Cyrus, do you think that cryptocurrencies is halal? Possibly, yeah. Possibly. I haven't looked into it, but I've spoken to people who are studying and researching this, and they've said to me that, yeah, it can be halal. There doesn't seem to be a specific reason for why we can say it's haram. The only sort of like problematic reason initially is that if it's not become formally recognized as a currency by a lot of the financial institutes in the world. Learn for Ilyas. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuhu. Regards to getting paid from teaching Quran, the ulama say it's not good to. Is it okay? What is al-ju'la but al-ujra take different? So basically, when it comes to this issue of taking money for teaching the Quran, learning the Quran, the idea basically is that the Quran should be something which people have free access to. This is the idea. And this was the Hanafi position in the early days. Shafis and Malikis said, no, it's allowed. You're allowed to charge for it because you're charging for a service. The Hanafis said, yes, it's a service, but at the same time, it's going to impede on people learning the religion. So you're going to get some people who are going to say, well, we can't pay for it. So the Hanafis basically set up a system where the government would pay all the teachers. Anyone teaching Quran would get paid from the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. So no one would have to pay to learn Quran because the governments were paying the teachers. Like nowadays in the UK, school teachers are getting paid by the government, and no parent in like state schools have to pay for their kids' education. But what happened over the years was this funding stopped, and then the Hanafi scholars adopted the Shafi and Maliki fatwa, which was they're allowed to take a fee. So now when the fatwa is like explained, the way it's explained is that the fee is for taking for time. Yeah, it's for the time that you kind of put into it. So it's like you're not charging for the Quran, you're charging for your time, because if you don't charge, you're going to have to work to get money, and that is something that's going to cause a problem. Yeah, because then people won't be able to dedicate themselves to the Quran properly, because they're going to say, oh, sorry, I can't teach you today, I gotta go work. Can't teach you today, I gotta go work. And that on a massive scale, that's going to affect the generations. MashaAllah, Qasim, I can't believe that I missed this one. Qasim, bro, I missed your donation. Jazakallah khair for your donation, Qasim. You always, MashaAllah, giving donations. May Allah bless your time and your efforts, and your support for my channel and for me. My mic for online teaching is so sensitive. When I type, it sounds like someone hitting the keyboard with a sledgehammer. How can I solve this? What can I use? So what mic are you using at the moment? So what I am using, I have two mics that I use. One is this one over here. It's called a Rode shotgun mic. And then I've got this one over here, which is my Blue Yeti. Right. So these are two different types of mics. These are mics generally come in two types. There's one mic which is so sensitive, it picks up everything from a very far distance. The Blue Yeti one does that, but the sound quality is very good. It's like very heavy, and you can actually like feel the sound. The shotgun mic is basically a mic which it picks up the sound from a particular direction. So that's why you won't get sound from all of the places. So this falls in the second category of mic, which only picks up the immediate sound that's around. So the mics that people put on their clothings, that falls under that one. What I would say is that what do you want at the end of it? If you want to focus on very good sound, like you're making videos and you want people to experience the sound, then Blue Yeti is definitely a very good option. But if you just want to convey like yourself, articulate yourself or speak or whatever, then something like the shotgun mic would be good. You can get like just like one of those pin-up mics, Rode mics. They call them Rode. So it's a company Rode mic. You can use one of those, and you can get them quite cheap. This one costs about £200, but you can get like good ones that do the job and sound quite good as well. I would say get that. But tell me what mic you got, and what you exactly need it for. Like what do you want to aim from using it? What's your objective? But yeah, Jazakallah khair, Qasim, for your donation. May Allah bless you. As you can see, Qasim, you can see that now your comments actually come up in a blue highlighted. Yeah, so that's it. See that? You've reached the next level now. You and MP have reached next level. Muhammad, mashallah, Muhammad Ulamir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What is the best book to use in Ilm Sarf? I don't know. I mean, there's so many books out there. I don't know if you've seen my course, Understanding Sarf course. Check that out. See what you think of it. I think one of the very nice books that has been written is a book called Arabic Morphology. Have I got it over here? Arabic Morphology. Yeah, I've got it somewhere over here. I can't seem to find it. Yeah, it's called Arabic Morphology. And okay, if you remind me, maybe at the end, yeah. It's called Min Kunuz As-Sarf. From the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. It's called From the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. From the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. That's a very good book, that is. It's not like, I think maybe it could be written later and presented in a better way, but it's very good content it's got in there for someone English speaking. I'm very sorry, but I have to go. May Allah bless you. Ahmad, Jazakallah khair for popping in. May Allah bless you. SMB, and may Allah make easy for your exams and other things as well. SMB, assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Can you read Quran from a screen in front of you with a certain speed during Taraweeh if doing at home, since it's not Amal Kathir? Yeah, I've made a video on this. Check the video out. So if you check out my videos, I've talked about Taraweeh, about reading Quran in Taraweeh. So you can check that out, inshallah. I've explained it over there in detail. Is reading Surah Fatiha Sunnah in third and fourth in every fard prayer if it is missed in Salah still valid? Yes, third for fourth prayer in fard is always considered to mustahab. MP wa alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban, welcome MP, long time no see. Well, not long time, but quite a long time. Aliyu, is saying RIP as a joke haram? It depends what the joke is. If it's a bad joke, then. Quilliam Bay, Mufti, what advice would you give to someone who wants to marry young, like 17 years old? I would say really think about it. Are you really ready for it? So I would say, for example, like think about like a 10-year sort of plan. Like let's imagine you got married in the next month. Are you ready for all the kind of responsibilities that are going to come to you? You're going to have to most likely move out, get yourself a place, provide, right? If your wife's not working, you'd have to, obviously commit yourself. And then if a child comes, then you're going to have to provide for that child. And then it's going to restrict you in other things that you want to do. Maybe you want to go into further education. So I think there's a lot of things that you have to think about. Yeah, think about a lot of things. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Bima Bays, my son Junaid, sitting here with the whole family in Cardiff watching your live show. I know it's a long answered question. He asked if I can ask you what is the difference between Sunni and Shia. Okay, I'll explain this one. This is a good question. This is. So, basically, historically, this is what happened. There was Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a famous Khalifa of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so he was a companion and he became Khalifa and he was assassinated, killed. When he was killed, Ali radiallahu anhu, he became the next Khalifa, meaning the leader of the Muslims. Many of the companions came to him and said, we want you to find the murderer. Who was the assassin? He said, look, I'm not going to do it now. Let everything calm down because, this is like one of the worst things that's happened to us where the leader of the Muslim has been killed. So we need to calm down. Let's calm down first of all. Let's keep everything stable and then we're going to start looking for the murderer and bring him to justice. They said, no, you must bring him to justice now. So there was this like argument between these two groups of Sahaba, the supporters of Ali and then the supporters of the other group. So the supporters of Ali, in Arabic, you actually call this the Shia. Shia means supporters. They call themselves the Shia of Ali. And there were many Sahaba amongst them and others. So initially, when this term started off, it started off as a term that was used for helpers and supporters. That's what it was used for. It just generally, they were like, like the Labour Party has supporters, the Conservatives has supporters, like that. The Shia of Labour, the Shia of Conservative. Then later on, what happened is that people began to, there were some unfortunately some leaders in the Bani Umayyah dynasty, right, like about 3 or 4 decades down the line, who began to crack down on supporters of Ali, especially the Ahlul Bayt, right, because of them standing up against oppression. So they became like a symbol for standing up against oppressive rulers, right? So the government, certain rulers of the Bani Umayyah began to crack down on them. So now, the more you crack down on a particular community, the more you're going to get an opposite reaction. So the more you had this opposite reaction, and so slowly now what began to happen was they became like one group that was like against the supporters of Ali, and then one group that was for them, right? So this the gap in between began to grow and grow and grow. So obviously there's a lot of people who were interested in this, but there was these 2 little groups that were growing. Eventually, what began to happen is that they began to support certain progeny of the Ahlul Bayt. They began to support them, so they became the prominent figures of their time, and they were like many of them were upright scholars. The real issue came in the belief, right? The real issue came in the belief when people began to say, right, we think Ali is the best companion, even better than Abu Bakr. Right? And then people say, how can you say that? Everyone's given Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu this high status. So this is the first time that you had this sort of like belief kind of coming into it. So initially started off political, then belief. And because people said fine. And that was the only thing. Then you had another group, after some generations, you had another group pop up and say, well, no, we think Abu Bakr and Umar were not rightly deserving Khalifas. Ali should have been the Khalifa, right? So then this group started to develop. The with all of this going on, you had some individuals, like some extreme elements, extremists amongst them, who came up with very blasphemous things. And they start saying things like, oh, Ali is from God. Ali was supposed to be made the prophet even. Ali is like at the same level as the prophet. And then that's when later on, so roughly like 200 years later, about 300 years later, that's when the real sort of like very problematic beliefs of some groups of Shia started to emerge. And a lot of the Shia weren't problematic. They were okay. Their beliefs were in line with, the main sort of like beliefs that people have. But there was like elements of them that popped up. That's what's become popular now. So when people start attacking Shia for deviant beliefs, it's those kind of like elements of the Shia. Just like, for example, among Sunnis as well, there are certain elements of Sunnis who have very, very problematic beliefs. But they're very small. So this is what happened, basically. So this is why the Sunni and the Shia issue, generally, if you think about it, everyone believes in one Allah. Everyone believes in the Prophet ﷺ being the final prophet. Everyone believes the Quran. So the main beliefs are all the same. It's just that you have certain aspects of them who have certain beliefs which are extremely problematic. Some beliefs are blasphemous, and some beliefs are very problematic, and which the Sunnis consider to be deviating from the mainstream. That's in a nutshell. But yeah, Jazakallah khair, Bima, for your support. May Allah bless you. May Allah barak in your time, your effort, and in you staying in Cardiff as well. I hope you have a nice munch in Cardiff. I'm sure. Oh, actually, yeah, that's it, bro. There's not very much in Cardiff to eat. Well, when I went there. Okay, right. So, okay, give me about five minutes. Yeah, I'm going to make some tea for myself because I'm feeling a bit thirsty. So inshallah, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Inshallah ta'ala. Yeah, so give me 5 minutes. Inshallah, I will be back. I just realized the time now. I'm thinking, why am I so thirsty for? Yeah. Okay, so I'll see you in 5 minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. I'm back, guys. Alhamdulillah. Actually, I got some new tea from Tesco's. Fennel tea. Quite good for digestion. Somf. Right, somf tea. You guys know what somf is. Right, so let's start then. Okay, so first of all, can you guys hear me? Just in case you guys can't hear, and then. Yeah, can you hear? Sound working? Hopefully it should be working well. This will be up. Yeah, is it on? Can you guys hear? Sound working? The screen's not coming on. Right, it's come on now. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so let's continue with the questions then. So today you guys made up for last week's lack of questions, huh? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Good on you guys, good on you. Okay, next question. Can you explain the balagha of Quran where Allah uses different words for sinners? Is certain sinners refers to as mufsideen, mujrimeen, dhalimin? How do you understand the context behind these different words? So this kind of a question is a good question. The only thing I would say is that you would have to provide the ayah and the surah it's in. Usually what happens is when Allah uses a particular word, you have to look at the entire surah. What surah is it? What's the context of that surah? What's the sort of like underlying meanings in that surah? And then it makes sense for why Allah uses, for example, like, mufsideen or mujrimeen or dhalimin, right? You look at that context. So it's all to do with context usually in Quran. So even with Allah's names in the Quran in different places, Allah will use a different sort of name in a different place. So it's all to do with context. I mean, it's in a way it's like very similar to how we say things in English. Like if we're talking about a criminal that caused a lot of damage in a particular community, robbing a shop, what word would we would be more befitting there? So you probably say mufsid rather than mujrim. Yeah, the mufsid would make more sense because he's caused a lot of sort of disruption in the society. But if you're kind of like looking at, let's say, a criminal with regards to in a court case, then you'd probably use the word mujrim there. Mujrim would make more sense. And if you're looking at a criminal with regards to how he has abused his power and strength and things like that, then you might call him a dhalim. Yeah, so it all depends upon context, just like the English language. In the hadith of Tirmidhi, the Prophet ﷺ said, if you see those who abuse my companions, then say, may Allah's curse be upon the worst of you. Does this mean that if someone in our presence uses vulgar language against a Sahabi, we are obliged? We're not obliged to say it, but it would be something which you can say. Yeah, in that situation. You wouldn't be obliged to say this. Because people said things about Sahaba but in the past, but we don't have evidence that they said this to them. So the Prophet ﷺ may have been saying this to a particular group of people. Yeah, saying to a particular group of people in a particular sense. Because, for example, a companion might have insulted another companion. So how does that work then? Or a tabi'i might have told of another sahabi. So it all depends. I mean, the hadith itself, I haven't looked into the sanad of the hadith. I think this question came before as well. But yeah, generally you'd be allowed to say something of that. So if someone was being abusive, verbally abusive towards one. And Allah tells us, and when you are greeted with a salutation, greet with one better than it or return the same. Thus, if someone sends a message to me which says Assalamu alaikum, and the message is not really a personal message but forwarded to message or event promoting message, is it still mandatory? No, it's not. It wouldn't, because it's to everyone and you can even verbally respond. And as long as one person has responded, which most likely they will, then it's fine. Is it true that according to the Hanafi madhab, the imama for men and niqab for women are not categorized as sunnah? That's right. Yeah. Is it sinful not to say Ameen after completing the recitation of Surah Fatiha? No, it's not. Not sinful. Recently I saw a video of David ripping and eating the Quran. This would shatter one's iman because isn't Allah supposed to preserve his words? Whether that be the Quran, the hard copy? No, that's not true. So when Allah says He preserves the Quran, it means that the Quran itself, the ultimate Quran that will exist on earth, will be preserved by Allah from distortion. But yeah, you will get people who will attempt to distort it, and they might think they get away with it, but overall the Quran will be preserved. Like, a day will never come where people will not be sure that this Quran was the same Quran. That will never happen. And the damaging of the Quran, that's happened throughout history. Throughout, from the days of Sahaba all the way to now, throughout history, it's been happened where people have burnt Qurans or damaged them. Or so that's not what the ayah means. How should one react to the thought that could occur? Allah is incapable of preventing. No, that's wrong. It's wrong. Yeah, Allah is capable of everything. So it's not like the Christian belief is that God has to intervene whenever evil exists on earth. God has to intervene. No, that's not. If a child dies, unfortunately, of like a very terminal illness, it doesn't mean that Allah is going to intervene and cure that child. No, that's just the way the world works. You're going to get people who are evil. You're going to get Fir'auns. You're going to get Abu Jahals. You're going to get Abu Lahabs. That's how part and parcel of how the world works. So if they eat the Quran, they might eat the whole Quran. They might even make a dish from it. It might become a popular craze. For a little while, people might start burning Qurans and eating Qurans. Yeah, but it's not going to affect the message of the Quran. Is it halal for a man to marry his mother-in-law's sister? Yes, he can marry his mother-in-law's sister because she won't be a mahram for him. Do you think Sheikh Asrar has pinpointed the exact location of Ya'juj? I don't know. Wallahu alam. Yeah, no one knows. No one, 100% no one knows. I mean, it's all speculation. Every single opinion that's come out about where Ya'juj and Ma'juj, it's all speculation. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. You are amazing teacher and the whole ummah has benefited. Allahu Akbar, mashallah, jazakallah khair. Okay, mashallah, jazakallah khair for your kind words. May Allah bless you. May Allah put barakah in your time, your effort and your kind feedback. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best teacher in the whole world and the ummah needs me. But I will tell you one thing, yeah, which is that I always say this to myself. I always say to myself that always try to do the best you can. And even if you die and you haven't completed your mission, then someone else will become inspired and carry on. Yeah, that's. I think if people have that sort of motto and they live by that, I think people will be able to accomplish a lot. So even if you're not gonna be able to do all the things that are in your bucket list, just try to focus on the main things that you think that are needed at this time. Whether it's take care of your family or whether it's anything else, just try your best, inshallah. All right, next. Okay, so Hanan's Corner, flawless. I always pray and make dua for the peace and health of my family, but at times there is when my brother and mum have a fight that one day I feel so lost and hollow that fear overtake me. What am I to do? Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that happens in families. Yeah, where people, argue with their parents or fight with family members, and clearly one person is wrong, or maybe sometimes two of them are wrong. Carry on making dua. And unfortunately, this is something that does happen. Nuh alayhi salam's son, disrespected him and disobeyed him when he said, Nuh alayhi salam said to him, come and join me in the boat and you'll be saved from the floods. He says, no, I'm going to climb to the top of a mountain. And then Allah showed that he was drowned. And then when Nuh alayhi salam asked Allah, oh Allah, how comes you drowned him? I thought you were going to save me and my family. He goes, he wasn't part of your family. Yeah, so sometimes we have to realize that there's tests that go on in our lives. Some people may be in positions where they might abuse their power, or they might do things, take advantage of other people. Parents might become frail and old, and people take advantage of them and do things. So I think just keep making dua, inshallah. If your brother does listen to you, maybe advise him. If he doesn't listen to you, maybe get someone else to advise him that he has respect for. Quilliam, also, is there a zakat fund for students for ilmiya who can't afford fees? Zakat fund, I think a lot of institutes do have zakat funds. Yeah, I think a lot of places do have zakat funds that do help students who can't afford their fees. Jarman Mufti Sahab, I have a big issue with najasa and transfer potential najasa. Even issues like if something was najis like a toilet floor and then kids walking on it and it's spreading around the house. Kai said, can you give me some general principles? Yeah, general principle is this: if you can't see it, if you cannot see it, it's not there. Just follow that principle. So I think you fall in the category of those people who have waswasa, yeah? And for them, they can take the easiest opinion. So, if you can't, just follow this rule. If you cannot see it, even if a kid has walked in the bathroom and walked on carpet, if you cannot see it, ignore it. Yeah, ignore it. It's not transferred. Sufyan, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahla wa sahlan, Sufyan. Marhaban. Welcome to this live stream. Good to see you again, man. Ali, for example, I'm fighting with someone and I lose, so I say RIP as a joke to him. Now, that's fine. Fine to say that. Hi, we're Blues Clues official channel. Ahlan wa sahlan, Blues Clues. MP, so would multiple ear piercing like 3 or 4 on one ear be allowed? It's become trendy now. Clothes shops have their earrings advertised with multiple piercings. Possibly. I mean, maybe it might be to your surprise, but I unfortunately don't go to clothes shops, women's clothes shops, and I don't really kind of tend to look at the new fashion designs out there. So I wouldn't really be able to kind of comment here. But what I would say is, look, these kind of things, if this is a general principle, but you probably would know better. So I would say look into these issues. If it's something which has become a widespread issue, there is scope for it. If it's not considered to be looked down upon amongst the majority of people. So if the majority of the people in the society don't look down upon this particular type of piercing, don't see it as being disgusting, then there's scope for it amongst some scholars. That's what I said. So if someone does want to take that opinion, then there is leniency there, I would say. But if a person feels, look, I don't want to take this opinion, I'll rather stick to those scholars who say that any piercings of the body are not allowed besides the nose and the ears, then you can take that position. Hanan's Corner, is cutting, shaving or trimming eyebrows haram in Islam? No. So the issue in Islam, the issue that the scholars raise is with thinning the eyebrows. According to Hanafi madhab, it's the thinning. And then in the Hanafi madhab, there is a position with regards to if the husband, wants the wife to have a certain kind of thinness of eyebrows, then it's permissible for her to do. And for non-married women, that would not be permissible. But shaving, just to kind of shape it, make it a bit more presentable, that would be allowed. Abdullah, assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. A friend runs a mechanical garage, and in his premises he has a major problem with the pigeons droppings. He has caught them and released them, they return. Yeah, he can. I mean, he can, if you terminate them, I think you mean by kill them, yeah? So you can kill them if they are causing a nuisance to his stock and things, affecting his business. He can use measures maybe, for example, put those pins that some people put pins, stop them from perching there. So those that find out, maybe you can Google it and find out how to stop pigeons from nesting. I Hussein Sheikh, according to the Hanafi fiqh, do modern drum-based washing machines with extra rinsing options purify clothes? Yes, definitely. What's the wisdom for most of mankind being a disbeliever? I don't know. Wallahu alam. We'll find out on the Day of Judgment. Sitra, I gave my daughter. I mean, most of mankind being disbelieved. This is like a very philosophical question, and this goes into lots of questions open up here. Like, what does it mean to be a disbeliever, a kafir? If a person has never heard of Islam, are they termed as kafirs? If a person was believed in a religion that's been distorted, they're brought up and they don't know any better, are they considered a kafir? And things like that. So there's so many sort of like questions on this. But generally, as you guys know, I don't like delving into issues related to Aqidah because it's just takes a long time to explain, and then also it raises lots of questions as well, which then you have to answer, and then no more live stream. Sitra. I gave my daughter the name Inara because it was said it meant spark of light or a light that brightens a path, but someone noted it's root Nar. Should I? No, it's fine. It's fine, totally fine. Yeah, Munira, for example, Munira is from there. Yeah, Munira, totally fine names. Yeah, totally fine name. Yeah, it comes from the word fire, definitely, but that's what it means, like a spark, a light. Yeah, so it's fine. Sup homies, Huga Straighten. Learn for what book would you? Oh, by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, guys, I recommend you guys do that now. What book would you recommend for Gharib al-Quran, a detail with references Arabic Shi'r al-Arabiya? So Gharib al-Quran, I would say the best one is obviously, or the one that's the most classical one is Raghib al-Isfahani's Gharib al-Quran. And then you got Gharib, just Gharib al-Hadith you got as well, which is also good, that can help you as well. From by Ibn Hibban al-Busti. No, so not Ibn Hibban. Is it Ibn Hibban? Not Ibn Hibban. Ibn Qutayba. And then you got by Zamakhshari, Al-Fa'iq. Yeah. And then you got a book by Al-Firoz Abadi, which is very good. Basair Dhaw Tamiz, 6 volumes. That's good as well. Yeah, check those out. And generally in tafsirs go into a lot of these kind of discussions as well. So, things like Ruh al-Ma'ani goes into a lot of discussions of words. What else? Yeah, Ruh al-Ma'ani does a lot. Hugo Stratton, my name is Qasim too. Ahlan wa sahlan Qasim. Saqib Masood, salam, I need your help. I'm struggling to stop repeating the fard and wajib acts in salat. Currently it takes me an hour to read Isha and it's stressing me out. Yeah, so what I would suggest to you, Saqib, is what you do is all you have to do is just do the bare minimum on fards. As long as you've done your fard in salat, your salat will be done. Follow that procedure and inshallah you'll go out of this sort of like OCD cycle you have. So generally that's what happens. People get into like a cycle, like a hamster, and they can't get out of it. You have to stop that cycle, and then the hamster will realize, and then it stops. So this is, I would say, my advice. I have real tech on mic. I just need the students to hear me. Okay. What you might want to get, like, this mic is a very good mic, yeah. Because with the mic that I've got, actually you can target where you want the sound to be picked up from. So if you're just using a basic mic, just get one of those mics that you just pin onto your clothing. So I think the Realtek one is the headphone one, isn't it? Yeah, where you have a mic piece, put your mouth like that. Those are quite good as well. Yeah, those are okay. I mean, if you use those ones, and those are excellent. Usually they're designed for these kind of calls and teaching. Yeah. Otherwise, let me know in the week, inshallah, and what I'll do is I'll look for one that's a useful one. The best cure is to simply just ignore the prayer, ignore and pray. See, that's a difficult thing. You're right, Ali, definitely. But a lot of people, and you experience it yourself, a lot of people find it difficult to ignore because it's just like plays on their mind. It keeps on repeating in their mind that they haven't done it. They feel bad inside. So what I would say is just as long as you've done the bare minimum, the fard, khalas, inshallah your salat is done, because you are suffering from something and Allah does not burden a person in the religion more than he can bear. Shout out to Beamer Bays. Yeah, Beamer Bays, guys, check out Beamer Bays channel. Yeah, we do some good stuff, I like the kind of food ones. They're quite funny. Yeah, check them out. You got some nice mates as well who will enjoy eating with you. Miss your comment, gonna check back later. Muhammad, shukran jazilan. Dal head. That's a crazy name, man. Well, one way of making money is by buying a business which are in the same field and competitors in order to bypass the initial hurdles of a startup. Yeah, that's a good way. I'm in a jazz. I'm really missing Yasin today. Yasin, yeah. By the way, guys, make dua for Yasin. I put it on my feed. Yasin is unfortunately in hospital on a ventilating machine. He's got COVID-19 and so has members of his family. So make a lot of dua for him. You know, he's a good guy, mashallah, from South Africa. Does a lot of work there as well. So yeah, make dua for him. Allah gives him shifa. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuhu. Al-Muhtaram. MashaAllah, Wasik, Ahlan wa Sahlan, Marhaban from Europe. Abdullah. Yeah, I think Dalhead is selling some business. Abdullah, seems you're here to promote business. Okay. Okay, Muhammad. Wealth itself has nothing to do with someone's iman. There are people with dunya in their hand but not in their heart, and those who have it in their heart, mashallah. True. So I laugh when someone says why women can't marry more than one. Okay. Boxing MMA. I know someone that is struggling really bad through a divorce. Any advice for him? I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I'm not really skilled in giving advice on these kind of things. So I would say best to speak to a marriage counselor, someone that can maybe advise him on these kind of things. Because usually, I mean, I can give advice on Islamic rulings, but I can't give advice on emotional problems people are going through. That would be the job of someone who is trained in that kind of field, like a psychologist or maybe some GPs or counselors, marriage counselors. Hanan's Corner. As hijabi in my class of computer science, when I'm discussing a topic, I make eye contact with the males at some for help, and I'm told it's haram to interact with them. No, that wouldn't be haram. Yeah, because that's obviously part of your work, and it's in a professional setting, so it would be permissible. Okay, but can you answer my money? I don't understand what's your money question. Yes, we can. Softy, good stuff. A sheikh said, if you say to your wife jokingly, I divorce you, or to your wife, let's divorce jokingly, yes, that's true. Abdullah, like a nice cuppa, definitely. Assalamu alaikum. In your Asufa talk, you mentioned a discussion between Imam Abu Hanifa and another scholar from Lebanon area regarding Rafal Yadain, but you didn't mention the outcome of the discussion. Yeah, so the outcome of the discussion was basically that Abu Hanifa was showing Imam Awza'i of how he approaches, the approaches were different. The whole point of the story was that it's about your approach, what methodology do you use to come to a conclusion. So Imam Abu Hanifa didn't have an issue with people doing Raful Yadain. He just said, I don't accept this because the approach I have in understanding the rulings of Raful Yadain are different. I was saying, try chamomile tea, Sheikh, knocks you out. Okay, and then I'll be asleep. Qasim, sounds fine. You should log in from another account on your phone and you can do these sound and video checks. Yeah, so what I can actually do as well is, so basically this mic is quite good because what you can do is you can connect earphones to it. Yeah, and then you can use this to kind of hear yourself and you can hear things in the background. So it's quite sharp. Yeah, so I've got earphones here, plug them in. So you can do that. But yeah, that's a good idea what you mentioned there. Late here, gotta go. Take care, inshallah, Cyrus. Bima, Sheikh, turn to autofocus off, keeps losing focus. Yeah, on you. That's what I was saying, wasn't it? That's what I was saying, guys. So the autofocus is a headache. So see what I need to do. I need to do this. It looks a bit weird. Okay, 1 second, I just need to change the battery. So, just change this battery. Okay, so um, Sharif, well, for your information, that is the first time you took a break in 2-3 weeks. You've been going like a full throttle for weeks, bro. I know, man. I know. I feel sorry for myself as well. I think it's after I told that joke. That's it, bro. I went on to next level. May Allah keep you among the extra most bestest. I mean, and YouTuber and YouTube and all of you guys. In any argument fight, how do you know you are truly right when you are infinite number upper? I don't know what you're talking about, Dalhead. Dalhead, I think your name, is kind of like making sense now. Because I don't know what you're on about. Jan, man, do things have to be wiped or cleaned 3 times, or is there an alternative opinion? No, they don't have to be wiped. Unless it's 100% impure, then you have to clean it. But if it's not 100%, you don't have to wipe it. Multiple ear piercings were very common in Pakistan amongst young women when I was in college. I can't remember any scholars saying it's not allowed. Okay. Interesting. So see, a lot of these rulings depend on society as well. You know, it could be like an opinion that hasn't become worldwide and might be localized. Kamiluddin Salam, is investing into stocks and shares of companies halal? If the companies are halal, then yes. It's seen as a cool nowadays, like girly and pretty, not the goth or emo type piercings and gross people out. Is it haram to shave the beard completely? So Hanafis would consider it to be makruh tahrimi, like it would be considered sinful. Hanafis would say, in general. But there are some who actually consider it to be makruh tanzihi, like the Shafis, Abdullah, what's his name? Al-Ghumari, famous Ghumari. He's got a book on it. I forgot his name now. Not Abdullah Ghumari, his elder brother. Sajjad Graphics, Salam Ustad, you're great. Please, Imam Hussein, as tomorrow is. Please, Imam Hussein. I don't understand. Please talk a bit about Imam Hussein killing. I don't know much about it. That's the honest truth. I mean, there's so much information out there. You can just Google it, you can find out, inshallah. Like piercing the tragus of the ear has become trendy too. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Why has Allah subhanahu in the story of Nuh alayhi salam about his son, innahu amalun ghayru salih? That's what I was supposed to say. So Mufassirin have differed on this, of exactly what this means. Innahu amalun ghayru salih. That normally innahu amal, humans are not an amal. So some say this is for mubalagha, that his son was so bad, as in, he was an amal ghayr salih. He was someone who was not befitting to be part of, Nuh alayhi salam's family. Yeah, so that's basically what that would mean then. And the one of the benefits of this is to show that, look, even the children of prophets are not guaranteed to be successful. There's no guarantee that a child of a prophet is going to be successful. Nuh alayhi salam's son, and then you have Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah saying to Ibrahim alayhi salam that some of your progeny are not going to be upright. Yeah. So this is like just to show us that if prophets' progeny are not protected, then it means that what about us then? Yeah, our progeny, if we are like praying 5 times a day but our children disobey us, and doesn't mean that we're wrong. It just simply means that this is something that we have to try and deal with ourselves. Okay, Hamdan, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan, Hamdan. Dalhead, I was saying that the system was heavily based on interest. I was not selling anything. The message was too long. Put everything on. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Is it allowed to add the word divine into our names, or is it haram? It depends what you mean by it. Yeah, like how you're using it. Could be allowed. Realtek is a free-standing mic, connects via. Okay, I think you can get a Realtek. I think I remember a Realtek one that you can connect to your ear as well. Yeah, so try. Yeah, so the USB ones, usually they're okay, but try the one that's like freestand, the one that you can just connect to your shirt. they're quite good. Some of them are quite good. And you just connect it into your laptop. So you should have a mic port in your laptop if it's not an Apple. If it's an Apple, then you won't have one. But yeah. But this one is a USB one, by the way. This one's a USB one. What is always in front of you but cannot be seen? And what can you break even if you never pick it up or touch it? Okay, so what is always in front of you but cannot be seen? So, okay, so let's look at this question. So, what is always in front of you but can never be seen? So this can be a lot of things. For example, like, what is always in front of you? Front is always in front of you. But the idea of front, like the concept of front and back, these are, front is always in front, back is always behind you, but you can never see front because it's a concept. That's one. What's always in front of you? So, for example, like maybe it's part of your body which is in the blind spot of your eyes. Yeah, for example, like under your nose. Yeah, between your top lip and your nose. It could be that. And that's always in front of you, right? Because it's not behind you, clearly, it's in front. Or maybe even what's always in front of you. It could be like a certain type of light or a certain type of particles and molecules that are always in front of you. Yeah. I mean, no, actually that can't, because they can be behind you, isn't it? So that can't be in front of you. Your eyelashes can always be in front of you. Might not see them. Yeah, your eye lens, the lens on your eyes. Yeah, that could always be in front of you. You can't see them. So I think that's... See, when you ask me these kind of questions, my brain automatically starts to break things down in this manner. So I'm a terrible person to kind of tell jokes to. Or I'm a terrible person to kind of say romantic things to, because I'm going to be breaking it down in my head and I'm thinking, okay, how does this work and all that. In any argument or fight, how do you know you are truly right when there are infinite number of points of view? Well, I disagree in that. That would be disagreed. Like if you say, is the door open or is the door closed? And you're saying it's open, someone's closed. There's not an infinite number of views. There's only two views. It's either open or it's closed. It can't be both. Right? Or, you know, for example, like you're either alive or you're dead. You can't be both. So I think that argument doesn't work properly. I would disagree. Okay, I was saying, Sheikh, big flooding in Karachi. Please keep its inhabitants, especially the ulama, in your du'as. Indefinitely, I've heard about that. May Allah make it easy for all of them. Everyone make dua for them, definitely. It's very sad, especially because Karachi is below sea level. Majority of it is below sea level. And I remember when I was there, like it flooded very often. Right, when it would rain heavily in the summer, you get regular floods, really bad. But yeah, I heard this time it's quite bad. The profit from investing in stocks and shares of companies comes from interest. Does that mean it's haram to invest in companies? No, so they don't all come from interest. So a lot of companies, they don't invest in interest. So it all depends. Like your local grocery store, if you invested in that, there's not going to be any interest there. So it all depends. If you do istinja with paper and then you sweat, or you can nuzz your clothes, no, you wouldn't, because Sahabas did this. Sahaba, and we never heard of Sahaba washing their clothes because of sweat. Air could... But see, the problem is air could be behind you as well. Yeah, it could be behind you. Could be in front of you. More Roberto Carlos free kicks. Definitely. And that's what I said. Once you start asking me these kind of questions, bro, you guys are going to get these kind of answers. Muhammad Saad, I was asking, what is the ruling of wearing trousers for women if they don't expose their... Yeah, it was permissible. For women can wear trousers, it's fine. I mean, like shalwar kameez, shalwar is the trousers. Men wear shalwar, women wear shalwar. Bima, mashallah, Bima again, Allahu Akbar, Jazakallah khair, Bima, you are the man. Guys, check out Bima's channel. Yeah, mashallah, really good work he's doing. It's like funny work rather. Yeah, and inshallah, hopefully the channel's going to have some amazing things coming up. So check out his channel, subscribe. Sheikh, my bro Jewel asks, is pension haram? Not necessarily. Depends where you invest it. Pension is basically an investment, financial investment. So wherever you're going to invest, if it's a halal, company that you invest in, equity, it's equity, isn't it? Halal equity, then it's fine, right? So there's a lot of like Sharia compliant pensions out there now. So it all depends on where you're investing. So for example, like some people have pension pots, and they invest in like ISAs. Usually those are not permissible because they invest in a lot of companies which are interest based. So I would stay away from ISAs. What is in front but cannot be seen tomorrow? What is in front but cannot be seen? See, I disagree with that. Tomorrow can't be in front of you, because let's say for example you're backwards. Why do we say tomorrow is in front? Why don't we say it's behind or it's above? Tomorrow is above. Why do we believe we're traveling in a linear pattern? Why don't we believe that we're traveling in an upwards pattern, like time is traveling in an upwards pattern, or a downward pattern, or a spiraling pattern, or like a multi sort of like time pattern? So I think I would disagree with that. Love the monthly lessons, future and a promise. The future and a promise. Yeah, it all depends. See, I see Dal head. I would agree with Dal head on this one, on your question here, because there's almost an infinite number of answers that we can come up with. So the areas all around us, Kamil. Is taking a student loan for university haram? It generally it would be if it's interest based, but if it's that you have no other choice and there's no other way to kind of make it, then there would be permissibility for it. Muhammad, if you have a water pipe and you place your finger in front of spray water, does the water become musta'mal and thus unfit for wudu? No, it wouldn't, because what would happen is when you put your finger in front of it, that water would spill on that part of the finger, and once that finger is now clean, that part of the finger is clean, any other water that hits that finger is not going to become musta'mal. So let's say you have, like for example, a hose pipe and you put your finger there. The initial little amount of water that touches the finger and makes it clean, right, allows all the rest of the water to be non-musta'mal. Riyaz Zaman, Assalamu alaikum, mashallah. Someone with my second name. I heard a speaker of a particular sect saying they reject hadith from Ibn Abbas because he might narrate about an incident that took place when he was very young. No, the majority do not say that. I mean, there is a concept in Usul Hadith which is Mursal of Sahabi, and none of the early scholars rejected Mursal of Sahabi. Apart from in the 400s, there was a scholar called Abu Bakr al-Baqilani and Ishaq al-Isfraini. They too were known for like having reservations on the narrations of Mursal of young Sahaba, but no one else did. When I said do a tier list last week, I meant like legend tier, good tier, okay tier, low tier. Tier lists are popular these days. Okay. I see. Interesting. Yeah, tears a good one. Amatullah, Assalamu alaikum, would be doing Maqamat al-Hadith series. I actually do a Maqamat al-Hadith series, but at the moment it's only accessible to my patrons. So my patrons, I think I've done probably, is it 10 lessons? Yeah, I think about 10 lessons so far on that. So we've almost come to the end of the first Maqama. Yeah, Maqama San'aniyah. Kibriyar Kayyum, with regards to pension, what if you have no choice where to invest and the company puts, then it's fine. Yeah, if the company invests for you, that's fine. Barakallah fiqh ya Ustad for the answer. May I increase you. Ameen. Jazakallah khair for your beautiful du'as. Wasik Sahib. I Hussein Sheikh, can you recite the hadith of Rahman next week for barakah through your isnad? Okay. I should have done it, isn't it? Yeah, because I've got a sanad for the Ashura. Yeah, and the Musalsal of Ashura. I actually got this from Mufti Taqi when I was there in Pakistan. Yeah, I should have done it today, but it's not Ashura anymore now. It's like the 11th now. So yeah, man, I should have. Well, actually, you know, for some people are doing Ashura tomorrow, aren't they? Actually, I might be able to tomorrow. Maybe read the hadith. Yeah, Musalsal, and give you guys ijaza in it. Hamza, tip for learning Quran for beginners from scratch, the basics. Yeah, check out my YouTube series. Yeah, check it out. I've got a YouTube series on how to read the Quran from scratch. It may be majaz, or is it haqiqat, the riddles? That's the way, Shari. That's why I like you, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like people from the US. Number one. Yeah, MP. Yeah, don't start huffing and puffing. And that's why I like Sharif. Alright, guys. So I finished all the questions. Alhamdulillah. 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 Ashura for some tomorrow. Oh yeah, some will do it tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. So I did my one today. Some will do it tomorrow. Aren't there multiple types of pension? Mufti Adam Kothari has a fatwa on this. Like some are based on not on a pot of savings, but like averaging, etc. These are not allowed. I mean, I don't know how all the pensions work, but generally pensions basically work like equities. So investments, pension is an investment. So it's basically like, let's say I am 38 years old now and I have a pension. So what my pension basically is that it's invested in a company, and when that company starts to make money, a portion of it is saved for me every year. I get a dividend, and that dividend is saved up, and then when I reach the age of 65 or whatever, retirement, then that money is slowly given to me on a weekly basis, or I can get it all in one go. That's how generally a pension works. Now I don't know how what it means by averaging. I never heard of that. Muhammad Abu Bakr, mashallah, jazakallah khair, ahlan wa sahlan, mashallah. May Allah bless you, bro. Yeah, you're the man from Warsaw. Allahu Akbar. Inshallah, I'm going to be seeing you, inshallah, next week, hopefully. Jazakallah khair for your support, for the kindness. Mashallah, may Allah bless you and bless your efforts and your journey as well, and learning ilm. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Really means a lot, man. Appreciate it a lot. Jazakallah khair. What bab is Ashura from? So Ashura is a strange word. It's from fa'ula. That's where it's from. So it's like the Arabs don't have it for anything else. So if you were there in my Tirmizi lessons, you would have remembered Ashura. Yeah, so it's basically some of the narrations mention Tasu'a, Ashura. So it's from like Fa'ula. Yeah, it's just like a ism on the pattern of Fa'ula with the Hamza at the end. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward your efforts. Ameen, Ameen, Jazakallah khair. And your stamina, you mean, and your liaquat. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, you do not look like you're almost 40. Yeah, I'm almost 40, guys. 2 more years, guys. What are you guys gonna get me? Yeah, you guys haven't got me anything so far yet, apart from mashallah your kind donations and support of the channel. But when I'm 40, I expect a gift. Yeah, for 40. When they say if you reach 40, you become wise. My podcasts and my live streams are going to become very wise, hopefully, by the age of 40. Is the Brahmi water helping him youthful? Allah, that's true. Yes, Abdullah, I think I like that one as well. Yeah, that type is fine. What do you think about the MMA fighter Khabib? No, I really like him. I haven't met him, but he seems to be someone who is a very sort of down-to-earth guy, humble guy, knows about his morals, and principled guy, mashallah. I think that's a very nice thing. Running, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Waters from Birmingham Sharif keep you young. That's it, bro. Jubair, anyone ever tell you look similar to brother Zishan from Sunnat Jannah? No one's ever said that. Is it? Interesting. Sometimes what happens, I'll tell you, people look the same. Like sometimes there'll be like a particular sort of like template. Do you guys have that? Like, does your face kind of resemble a template, like a typical template of of a person. So sometimes you might have a guy who's got like a certain size beard and he's got like a mustache and he's got like little gaps between the sides of the mustache, and you can see a bit of his cheeks and eyebrows are quite a bit thick and a bit of black hair. So you have this kind of like a template image, and there's a lot of kind of guys who will fit this template image. So if you look at them from afar and you blur your eyes a bit, they resemble them. And there's a lot of like women as well who will maybe wear their hijab in a certain way and they look very similar. Like it's like a template that they're trying to copy. Yeah, I think it happens with everyone. So do you guys have a template? Do you think you guys have a template? Do you have like a certain image that you kind of fit into, a typical image? Yeah, I think I've got a typical facial features image kind of thing. Yeah, the beard, the mustache. So yeah, I don't know what you call it. Some people make like a little figurine of it, an avatar, like an image like that. Life starts at 40, Sheikh. I know, and white hairs start coming at 40 as well, bro. But then there's a popular one called defined benefit, where it's not based on what you put in, but how you... So I mean, I've done a whole thing on pensions in my Zakat crash course. If you check out my Zakat crash course, I explain it over there. So there's two types of pensions out there. One is called a defined benefit scheme, and one is called a defined contribution scheme. Defined contribution scheme basically is where your employer puts your share automatically in. It's like a state pension. Where a defined benefit scheme is where you're the one that is in control of where the investment's being made. Check that video out. If you don't understand it in the video I've made, then inshallah I'll try to answer your questions. Hamza Bhatti, you're underrated. You put in so much hard work for the channel and you keep spreading. Alhamdulillah, may Allah accept. The main thing is, look, Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said this statement here, and I always keep this in the back of my mind, which is Ma kana lillahi baqi. Anything that's done for the sake of Allah ultimately is going to remain. That's like a test. So lots of people try to do things, right, in the world, but a lot of them just die out. Yeah. And it's like one of those kind of races that people do. It's that everyone tries to start the race, but not everyone finishes it. Some people just give up. So I think we'll try to do that, inshallah. Try to do as much as we can, even if we don't get too many viewers. It doesn't matter. We're trying to do our thing, and people seems as though people are benefiting, alhamdulillah. Marian, mashallah. I Hussein, nahnu bani Adam. Nahnu banu Adam. Naam. Nahnu bani Adam. Inshallah. Abdullah, no, I don't see the resemblance at all. He was on a podcast himself. You can check yourself. Yeah, maybe you're right. Have you ever watched any of his fights, his wrestling style? I've seen a few where he fought with McGregor. I've seen that. I used to do MMA before. I didn't do wrestling, but I did Thai boxing, Muay Thai, and I did boxing. Hamza, how long have you grown out your beard? How many years have you been growing? Probably since the age of 18, I think. Probably since the age of 18. So I'm 38 now, so 20 years. 20 years beard. Well, obviously I've been trimming it. I regularly, grew my beard. Sharif template, my dad. Allah bless his soul. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Abdullah, I definitely agree with the template you're referring to. I'm told I look a lot of bearded bros. Usually they have a round face, etc. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you who looks like who. What's that guy in Portugal? Yeah, I think there's a guy in Portugal. I haven't seen Portugal, but those kind of figures. So Beamer Bays, yeah, bro, you look like one of them. Yeah, I think maybe that's where you got that name from, with your mustache kind of style. It's like that kind of. Hussein, we're into the next day, Sheikh. Narration, lack of cycling. Yeah, I'm exhausted. My energy levels are really down. Tired today. So inshallah, I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow. Inshallah. Hassan, ahlan wa sahlan. Sanga chalde, sanga ye khaye. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so think that was a long one there, guys. So US guys, put your hands up. If you're from the US and if you're from South Africa and the US, put your hands up, guys. Ya Allah. Allahu Akbar. Jazakallah khair, guys. My Ustad, my Murabbi looking very handsome. Jazakallah khair, bro, you're making me blush. Muhammad, have you told the story of the jinn in your Ustad's house yet? Oh yeah, I promised last week I would tell you, wouldn't I? Hadrat, where are the videos? Which videos, bro? Hamza, thanks Mufti, inshallah. See you next time. Thanks for the hard work. Ameen. Jazakallah, Hamza. May Allah reward you. Wassalam. Abdullah, you look more like Urtugal, the main guy himself. I'm sure you've been told that before. Yeah, I think so many people have told me. I had to look him up and put my picture next to his just to kind of see. But I can see the kind of things that people are seeing. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Marian, Sharif, كيف حالك? أنا بخير. I am me. Jazakallah khair. أهلا وسهلا Marian. Assalamu alaikum. From Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, good day, mate. Shrimps on the barbie. What else did you guys say? I can't remember what else you guys say, man. So, you know, usual kind of Australian kind of... Because when I grew up and I was young, I used to watch... what's that thing? There was something called Neighbours and Home and Away. Do you remember that? It was like early 90s. Neighbours and late 80s. Neighbours. And you want to... I forgot that story. Yeah. And Home and Away. I don't know if you guys remember that. But yeah, Brisbane, shrimps on the barbie. Thank you again, Sheikh. Your time, Allah preserve you. Ameen, ameen, ameen. The ones patrons get. What do you mean? Don't you get access to them? You don't get access. You should get access to them. I love from USA. Ameen, ahlan wa sahlan. Yeah, I am me and Sharif. Obviously, I know Sharif from USA. MP, I always pause it when you tell jinn stories. Yeah, I'm just thinking, shall I tell the jinn story? Shall I tell you guys? Yeah. Okay, if there's enough people here, okay, if more than 10 people say, because at the moment there's 43 people watching, if more than 15 people, let's say, if more than 15 people say yes, tell us the jinn story with your stars, then I'll tell you guys. Yeah. So 15 people or more say, then I'll tell you. I suggested a few videos that maybe you could do for me. You know what? I totally forgot. What were they? Which ones were they? I did say in the future. I think I remember you saying some video. I said in the future, inshallah, I will. Future is in front of us, according to Sharif. Sharif told us the future is in front, and it's always in front. When we doing a collaboration, Sheikh? Inshallah, maybe in the end of this year, inshallah. Sherlock Holmes, can I download your lessons from Patreon, like listening offline? Yeah, sure, inshallah. I'm thinking of switching to the part-time alim class instead, to be honest, as I'm currently working in a maktab and also part-time imamat working with... Oh yeah, so full-time would be difficult, wouldn't it? Yeah, good idea. G'day, Neighbours and Home are still going on. They're still going on. Allahu Akbar. And you know what? That's like a proper long-running series, that is. Yeah. Qasim, a jinn story. Okay, so you got one jinn story, yeah? Ibrar, jinn story 2. Marian 3. Samuel 4. Amatullah 5. MP. Oh, you made me hurt my ribs, man. Okay, MP say no. So, okay, Sayyid Qamar Zaman 6. Hannah 7. Muhammad Bakr, what does that wrench mean? Or basically it means they are considered moderators. Yeah, they're like moderators. They got like a status. They're like Naib Khalifas, basically. And Abdullah saying, go ahead, 8. Muhammad, 9. Bima, £1. I think that means a yes. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, Bima. May Allah bless you. Again, MashaAllah, you really kind of shown your love for the channel. Amy, yes, that's 10. Saying, leaving Jinn story, Sheikh, need to get up for suhoor. Oh yeah, tomorrow you're gonna fast, yeah. MashaAllah, may Allah bless you. Remember your dua as well. Jalman, you have to tell us the Jinn story now if you promised. So 12, what's your favorite food? You know what? Forget that favorite question. The favorite question is the hardest question for me to answer because my brain can't do fiqh on it. Girl has 12 Jinn stories. So I added you already anyway. So Naheed, assalamu alaikum. How are you? Ahlan wa sahlan, Naheed. I'm very good. Thank you very much. How are you? Yas said, yes, please. Jinn story. That's 13. Sherlock Holmes. Jinn. 14. Yeah. And then Janwan, yes, tell us. Me and my wife saying yes. 2 of us. Okay, that's 15 then. Yeah. We got it to 15. Okay, guys. Let me tell you the Jinn story here. And then we finish on this one. Let me just clear my throat. So basically, let me tell you what happened. So, do you want it like in a dramatic style? Yeah, with a kind of like, that soft sort of like eerie, non-instrumental music in the background? Yeah. Or do you want it like just like a normal kind of just a okay, so let me tell you the story. Yeah. So basically, what happened was this: I used to go to my teacher's mosque, and his house was on top, to study from him. So basically, this teacher used to live like about an hour or maybe hour and a half away from where I studied. Right. So he lived in a different place. So I would catch 2 buses to go there. And it was like in this really kind of like strange place, very narrow alleyways. Like you wouldn't be able to get there, right? You'd have to kind of know the directions because it goes through these alleys. So if you ever seen those images of like ghetto kind of areas, it was very similar to that. So you had to go through all these alleys, and Google Maps is not going to work there basically. Anyway, so I used to go there on Thursday nights and I would study by him. So basically what happens is one day, me and my friends, we go on Thursday night, we finish our class in madrasa, we caught the buses and we've gone there. As we go there, we've gone to the class, we prayed salat in the masjid, then we used to go upstairs. So you come out the masjid and you go up these stairs, and his house is on top, and then he's got this little guest room where he hosts his guests or teaches students. So we're sitting inside of it, studying by him, and I think we were studying Usul al-Quran or something. I can't remember what it was that day. Yeah, maybe Usul al-Quran. As we're studying, there's our teacher and there's about 5 of us. We're in the room and the room's quite packed out. All of a sudden, this guy comes, knock on the door. So one of the students gets up, goes to the door, opens the door. Yes, and he sees him in. He comes in, takes off his shoes. He comes inside the room, and we're all studying. And he just says, Assalamu alaikum. It's just like an average guy, normal kind of clothes. He's got like a hat on his head. He's got like a small beard. And he sits down in the corner. And then the teacher just carries on teaching. Then all of a sudden, the guy starts speaking again. Like randomly, just in the middle of the lesson, the guy starts speaking. So we thought it was strange, like we're teaching, we're learning, we're studying, and this guy's already come, he's given salam, he's sat down, and all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, he gives salam again. So it's strange, isn't it? So anyway, this teacher stops the lesson, but this time the guy, he is not speaking the same language he was speaking when he came in. So when he came in, he was speaking Pashto. But when he started to speak the second time, he started speaking Urdu. So the teacher stopped the lesson and said to him that, have you come? And he goes, yeah, I've come. And then we were like, what do you mean? Have you come? Is this like some sort of like, balagha going on here? Yeah, some metaphorical, figurative speech. So he goes, yeah, I've come. Yeah. And then he said to him, look, I told you not to come again. And the guy would say, no, I had to come. And then he goes, look, tell me the truth now. Tell me the truth is, my teacher was just saying, like, tell me the truth. There's students here and there's, like religious books here. And then the guy started like freaking out all of a sudden. We kind of like we didn't know what was happening. So it was like one of those kind of like, in those horror movies when someone starts speaking in like this different voice. It was like one of those. So when this guy started doing this, I started looking at my friends. And my teacher was like having a real go at him. And we didn't know what was happening. And the teacher just said to us, you know what? You guys pack your stuff and go. Yeah, we'll continue this next week. So we packed our stuff, took our books, put them all away, and then we all left. And he was alone with the teacher. So then, I thought it was like, sometimes some really kind of like really annoying questioners used to come to my teacher and really ask him really awkward questions. Yeah, sometimes they would be from different sort of like backgrounds or mindsets, and they would want to catch my teacher out or something. It happened many times in the past. I thought it was something like that. I thought, like, how rude is this guy? So anyway, next day, Juma, I go to meet my teacher in Juma. And as I go to meet him, I ask him, I say, Ustad, what happened yesterday? Yeah, that guy. He goes, oh, come upstairs, I'll tell you. So we went upstairs after Juma. And he said, well, basically, this guy has been possessed by a jinn. Someone has done some like sihr on him, like black magic. Someone's done some black magic on him. And this guy, he's gone and he's beat up his whole family one day. And he's like freaked out. He started screaming and shouting. So they called me, I went and I saw him, and then the jinn started to speak. And every time the jinn speaks, he doesn't speak in Pashto, he speaks in Urdu for some reason. So he goes, this guy started speaking to me. And he goes, I sat him down and then I started reading things on him. And then, the jinn I said to the jinn, why are you doing this for? And the jinn goes, basically, he goes, this guy has been doing bid'ah. He goes, this guy's been doing innovations, bid'ah. And he goes, we want to teach him a lesson. So this is why we come to him to show. And then the teacher said, don't you know that this is wrong in Islam? This is wrong. Because he was saying that he was a Muslim. The jinn was saying, I'm a Muslim. And he said, look, don't you know this is wrong? In Islam, you're not allowed to harm other animal creatures, humans. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I know this. I even know the hadith. So he said, what? He goes, yeah, I know the hadith. He goes, that book over there? And it was Abu Dawood. He goes, I know the hadith in there. So anyway, the teacher starts saying, well, if you're a scholar of knowledge, then how comes, you're doing this? You should know. So he goes, yeah, he goes, okay. He goes, okay, I will leave this guy on the condition I can visit you for the next 10 days. Next 10 days, I'm going to visit you every single day. And after that, I'll leave him alone. So he said, the guy wants to come, right, for the next 10 days. I said, okay. So he said, basically, after a few weeks, I asked my teacher what was happening. And he said the guy was coming every day and he was going over hadith with me. Like from memory, he was quoting hadith, like with the full chain and everything. So this was a random guy who probably doesn't even know Arabic. And then when he came to my teacher, like with the jinn was actually like discussing like really advanced issues in hadith with my teacher. And the jinn was saying that he's been around on earth for a very long time. And he studied from some early years. So when he said this, it was like, the teacher said, I became fascinated. I wanted to learn like more about this jinn, who has he studied by and all that. But anyway, I think that was a scary story, but at the same time, I think it was a weird story as well. Yeah, and that was this guy basically. After that, I think he got better. Yeah, he was better after that. But it was the whole background to the story. I think is the most interesting thing. So it's not very scary. So I don't know why MP's legged it. MP's probably just sitting there watching. I'm gonna listen. Yeah, but yeah, that was the story. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of something similar. But that was something that I saw with my own eyes. And I said to my teacher that I would have loved to been there. I wanted to listen to this guy, see what he says. But he said, no, you shouldn't be in these kind of things because sometimes the jinn can attack you. Yeah, it can harm you like physically. So it's best not to. Muhammad Bakr just got to keep consistent in learning from like background full of scholars. I've learned everything practically and dial up. Yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Heard a lot of good stuff from my uncles. Alhamdulillah, your uncles, mashallah, top guys, man, mashallah. Give my salams to them as well. Just doing a come on jinn story. You keeping this live up on the channel? Yeah, definitely. Can I fast only on the 10th of Muharram? Yes, you can. Who did he study by? I don't know who he studied by. I didn't really ask him that, but he said that he studied like many hundreds of years ago. And he had that memorized. The only problem is sometimes jinns lie a lot. That's the thing, my teacher said. So he says he's come across that jinn sometimes that they lie. You said the jinn learned from the early scholars. Who? So we don't know who. I mean, I don't know who. I didn't ask my teacher who. Sharia, yes, you can. Cyrus, one night I was sleeping, then suddenly I woke up and I look above me and I saw a ball of light. I was wondering why it was an angel. Allahu Akbar. Bro, I don't know what that was. Might have been a light bulb there. Yeah, could be. Could be some sort of some phenomenon. Could be something in your mind. Who knows? Might be part of a dream. Anyway, guys, Jazakallah khair. I told my story, fulfill my promise, and I'm going to call it a night now. So Jazakallah khair. I will see you guys inshallah next time. May Allah bless you guys. May Allah keep you guys happy. And if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. And inshallah tomorrow is going to be a Yasin inshallah. So check that out. And otherwise, that means our language is old. Then Yusufzai tribe, my tribe is from around 15th century, I think. Don't know, maybe, possibly, could be. Or maybe a version of it was around then. If a person is under jinn possession, are they responsible for their bad actions? I mean, obviously Allah on the Day of Judgment, he'll deal with them the best way. But in a court of law, if it can't be proven, then they would be considered to be, in their own actions. Do they get a hammer after a certain number of moderations? No, they get a hammer. I choose them. So if Sarif, if you are, if you are my man, yeah, if you are my man, like what's his name? That famous actor. Is it Denzel Washington? My man. If you are my man, then I might make you a moderator, man. Naheed, what are the signs that a person's possessed? I don't know really. I mean, it's just, I don't know, maybe they kind of like exorcist kind of, they start speaking in a different tone. I never heard a jinn story that really shook me. I tend not to believe. Most of them are usually passed on stories. Yeah, a lot of them could be. Definitely, I agree. I'm back. Allahu Akbar. Is this class on next week? Yes, inshallah. Barakallah feek. Naheed, what's the signs person? I don't know. I'm not an expert in this, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Alright guys, take care inshallah. Remember your du'as. And yeah, my man. You gotta say it properly, bro. My man. Sound like a Jackie Chan. I've listened to that. I have to fast on the 9th and 10th. It's recommended, but the Prophet ﷺ never fasted on the 9th and 10th. He only fasted on the 10th. But he did tell people, recommend them to fast on 9th and 10th or 10th and 11th. I heard America have all the jinn. Go to America if you want to see jinn. Sharif's the one who could tell us all the jinn. From next week, yeah, Sharif? You're gonna do some jinn busting, yeah? Find some jinn stories. Alright guys, take care inshallah. Remember your du'as and stay blessed guys. Stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.